It's time to get right and feel better. It's been a few days. How's the loss sitting with you guys? You feel a little bit better? I saw a lot of Aggies looking to jump off a cliff after that week 1 loss. I know a lot of Aggies felt really bad. But guys, it is way too early to write this team off. It is way too early to write off Mike Elko. We don't even need to be talking about that yet. But I'm addressing it because I hear it and I've been seeing it a lot. But I will say over the last couple of days, specifically the last 24 hours or so, people have cooled off. People are getting excited again. We have a whole football season ahead of us. Exciting twists and turns ahead. Exciting developments, players to emerge, developments to happen. So much on the table right now. And it's time for the response. You can't let one performance define you. And you have a major opportunity to get right this weekend. And I know, it's McNeese. It's freaking McNeese. But guys, it's all about the Aggies. Did they show up early and often? Do they impose their will? Does the offensive line pick up where they left off? Does the defense keep up the intensity but clean things up? And of course, elephant in the room, Connor frickin' Wigman. Does he look like himself? Does he get confidence? I want to see him smiling out there. I want to see him having a good time. I want to see Connor Wigman return. Tonight, I want to talk about the things we need to see versus McNeese. And let's be totally honest with ourselves. We probably don't get definitive answers this weekend, even if they play a perfect game. It'd be a huge step in the right direction, though, because next weekend, you're in conference play. It's the Florida game, the real test, the tone setter for the year, really. It's about the follow-up to that week 1 loss, and that's over these next 2 weeks. So, guys, thanks for being here on a Thursday night. We're in the football season, baby. Enjoy it. Be happy. I know it started with a little bit of a fizzle, but hey, Aggie football is upon us right now. And it's opening night for the NFL. Is anybody else keeping an eye on that game? I'm not watching. I'm just here with you guys, full attention here. Good luck to all your fantasy teams. I hope you win $1 million in your fantasy leagues. Good luck there. But this is a college football Texas A&M show. So I invite all of you guys to call in and once again, give me your score prediction for a chance to enter the Hall of Fame. If you don't know, we started a new tradition on this channel. You give me your score prediction. It has to be over the phone. It can't be through the chat, although I will accept your chat predictions. Those are cool to see too. But if you want a chance to enter the Hall of Fame, I want you to call in, and if you nail the score prediction, I will create a board, which is yet to be created because no one got the score right last week. No one got the winning team right last week, unfortunately. But if you get it right, you're going to go on a board that I will hold up every Thursday show, and your name will be immortalized in the Hall of Fame of people who get the score predictions right. It'd be tough to do. A lot of possibilities this game. So guys, thank you so much for being here. And honestly, more importantly than the score is cool. It'd be cool to blow them out and get 1,000,000 points on the board and hold them to 2 or 0. But I want to know exactly what you need to see from the Aggies to feel confident, to feel good, to feel like they've turned the page and are taking the next step. And I'll go first, of course. But I want to hear from you when you call in, score prediction, and then tell me exactly what you need to see. I don't need keys to the game. I don't need matchups. It's an FCS opponent. It's about A&M. What do you need to see A&M do this weekend? All right, guys. So let's say what's up to everybody in the chat, and then we'll get into some calls and talk about some other things. We got some big games this weekend. I want to talk a little bit about the Texas-Michigan game. That's a fun game to watch. We'll keep an eye on that. But it's really all about the Aggies. John Peroni in here. Ags, big-time win on Saturday. Hopefully Wigman gets right. That's what we need. We need a get-right game 100%. Chris Cobb says, Ags 53, McNeese High School 3. Throw in shade to McNeese. I respect it. Reese Baird says Aggies plus 50 on Saturday. 50-point win. No spread for this game, but if there were a spread, it'd be around that number. Chris Cobb says Notre Dame will see us again before next year in a bowl game. That would be delicious because we're going to be much better by the end of the season under a new staff with new playbooks and learning everything. Probably have a lot more room to improve over the course of the year than most teams, given the circumstances. Jeb in here, let's take out all the frustration on McNeese. Let's get him. Let's get him. Let's do it. But play clean, play good. SB Hustler in here, good to see you. SB Hustler, Connor is going to feast. Book it. I'm booking it. I'm banking on it. We need Connor freaking Wigman back. It's time to go out there and just play good, play clean, be yourself. Play to win in here, good to see you. We improve against McNeese. 42-10. I hope it's like 42 in the first half, rest everybody in the second half if that's the score. I'll take a blowout. I'll just want clean play, good play, confident play. I'll talk about what I want to see in just a second. He also said, SB Hustler also says, want to see Bussy get involved a lot against McNeese. We're going to need him as the season progresses. Absolutely. He represents the explosive nature of your offense. You don't have a lot of playmakers. You have some, but you lost Ruben Owens. You need people that can just get up and go and make things happen. And Bussey's one of those guys. And clearly, versus Notre Dame, early and often, they were ready to do that. It just didn't work out. But, he played a lot. He's going to play more and more as the year goes on. He's a receiver this year. He's a kick returner this year. That's what he's doing this year. And he needs to play well in his role. I have some notes on what I want to see from Bussey. I'll get into in just a second. Connor's going to throw for 300 yards. Book it. I'm booking it. Thank you. I want it. Noble Guy says, what's up, boys? Good to see you, Noble Guy. Good to see you. Oh. Antiag says, not sure A&M has the talent to beat a team like McNeese. Good to see the trolls in here, alive and well. Happy to see it. Brent Warren says 52-3, Texas A&M. Ags bounce back. Good to see you in here, Brent. Brent, I believe, is an Irish fan, but he resides in Texas. Very respectful Notre Dame fan. Had a lot of good interactions with Notre Dame fans. Good to see you in here, Brent. Putting down 50 points would be awesome, says Alex Flo. I know. I want to see that 50 get up there. Our offense needs that confidence boost. And yeah, and typically in a game like this, you want to see the backups get in. You want to see them get some reps. But I would like to see them hold on to the starting unit for a couple more drives than necessary, just given what we saw from the offense in week one. Maybe defensively you can start pulling bodies a little bit earlier. I would really like to see this offense just stay in their full go game plan a little bit longer than you normally would against McNeese. Don't you agree? Don't you want to see them just like, okay, a couple more drives. Let's just leave them out there. Let Le'Veon cook. Let the O-line cook. Leave Connor out there. Keep passing the ball. Force the issue a little bit. Just build. Because the real test is the next week, and you've got to get some good vibes and good feelings going before then. Jeb says, I wonder if this season will be similar to 2010 when Gerard Johnson and Tannehill had a quarterback battle. Gerard had talks of being a first-rounder. I'm not there yet. Possible, but I hope it doesn't come to that. No clue on Thursday Night Football. I got you. I won't be pleased unless we score 50-60. I think there are circumstances where I'm okay in the 40s. Depends on how the game goes. But yeah, I'm pretty similar to you. Ben says, I bleed maroon no matter the outcome. Our culture and values mean everything to me. We'll keep fighting and our resilience will lead us to victory. Gigamags. Amen. But I want to see some wins. I want to see some good performance. I want to see a good season on top of all of that. And I was talking on X today about how I love how Elko has embraced the Aggie culture. And most people have been pretty cool in or in agreement with that. But a lot of people are like, I'd rather him just win. I'd rather him just win than embrace Aggie culture. Look, I'm greedy. I want freaking both. Give me both. Give me the good culture, the good vibes, and the wins, and the great play. I want to see it all. I want it all. Kickoff is not until 8:40 Eastern time tonight. Is it? So 7:40 our time, Central time? Gotcha. Oh, it's delayed. Chiefs-Ravens delayed. Okay. Y'all got time to hang out here for a while. Sounds good, guys. Sounds good. And I hope to see some of you guys call in tonight. The call-in link is pinned in the chat. Click that. You'll enter the waiting room. Just activate your mic and enter a name. That's all you have to do. It's super self-explanatory. Jump on. Give me a score prediction for a chance to enter the Hall of Fame. And give me what you need to see from the Aggies in this game to feel better about the season. And I know it's McNeese, but it's about yourself. It's about what you do and how you respond to last week. Jeb says, I don't mind cupcake games, but I'm the only one who hates playing FCS teams. I absolutely hate it. I hate it. I get why you schedule it. You want, kind of the break for your body, less physical opponent, but I also hate it. I'd rather just play a G5 school for sure. John says, I like to see our offense score a lot of points. Amen, brother. Amen. Jeb says, the only thing excited about these matchups, you get to see some of our depth guys play. That's true. That's true. You get to see opportunities for guys that might not play all year in a game like this. You might see some guys that are getting walk-ons use one of their 4 burns this game. It's possible. And I hope we get the opportunity to do that. Really hope we get Barber back in a few weeks. I saw that Barber's progressing. I saw him, obviously, in street clothes looking pretty healthy at the Notre Dame game. Maybe he's back within 2 to 3 weeks. That'd be awesome. Need another weapon. Noble Guy says, we'll be all right, boys. We'll be all right. Just finished my fantasy draft. Good luck, man. Good luck. I feel so good about my fantasy teams this year. We'll see how it goes. I always underperform, but we'll see how it goes. Jay says, I just want Connor to hit his spot. Smooth offensive game plan, no penalties, and boost his confidence. Amen. Amen. I mean, what more can you say about Connor, right? He just has to play better and clean it up. But, we heard a lot about footwork. We heard a lot about playing rushed. Obviously, those are some direct things we want to see remedied versus an opponent you can definitely do it against. All right, guys. Here's what I want to get into about McNeese. I'll talk offense, defense, and then I'll give you my score prediction at the end. Look, in a game like this, I don't think there's too much skill in the score prediction. It's really a lottery. We want to see a lot of points. We want to see them not score a lot of points. I'll give that after I tell you what I actually want to see in the game. So defensively, Keep up the intensity. I thought the defense didn't play a perfect game, but what they did play with was a lot of passion, and they were extremely physical. Now, they didn't wrap up perfectly. There were too many missed tackles. Some of their biggest plays, the biggest running plays they had, were misgaps by the linebackers, bad angles by the secondary or the linebackers. I want to see that cleaned up. I want you to play clean football, but I don't want you to jeopardize the intensity and passion with which you played in week 1. It's going to be a test because this is a noon kickoff versus an FCS opponent. But I want them to leave no doubt. But I also want them to play clean. So kind of balancing those two, that's kind of the overall thing I want to see from this defense. Now, specifically, I want to see a big bounce back game for Torian York. Look, Torian's a guy we've seen it from before. A guy that was so often in the right place at the right time, never took the bait, was in the right gap, very sound in his run gap. I want to see that totally cleaned up. I want to see him consistent, decisive, and where he's supposed to be. We expect big things from Torian this year. We've seen great play from Torian. It's not a long-term concern for me, but I do need to see him clean it up versus McNeese when you can. I also can't wait to see Dalton Brooks. He made a mistake last game, no doubt. That was a bad targeting play. Quarterback sliding, you don't do what he did there. But he remained locked into the game. You saw him and Elko have a candid conversation after that happened on TV. They zoomed in on it. Great to see it. And you saw Dalton Brooks absolutely locked in for that whole game. And he's a breakout player this year, potentially. And surprisingly, he wasn't a starter. Marcus Radcliffe earned the starting spot. I want to see him continue to build and just kind of clean up. I loved his activity. I loved his physicality. I loved his involvement in the run game. Of course, as a box safety, that's what he's going to do. But he was all over the field. I just want to see him play cleaner. I can't wait to see the safety rotation healthy and in action. I wonder if they're going to go 4 deep at the safety. I wonder if Trey Jones still plays if Dalton Brooks is in. I hope so. We saw a lot of good stuff from Dalton Brooks, but I'm really excited to see Dalton. I want to see, obviously, domination from the defensive line, but I specifically want to see the interior of that D-line dominate. I thought the ends had their moments. Kennedy, Cassius Howell played pretty well. Scorton had his moments. He played nicked up. Look out for his health. I'm sure he's going to play this weekend. Hopefully he's all good. I want to see Shamar Stewart continue to dominate. He was in the backfield a lot last game. Didn't record a sack, but they were back there. They were active. I want to see them build on that and dominate an offensive line. You absolutely can. I specifically want to see domination and sacks and tackles for loss from Shamar Turner. I thought he lost focus a little bit last game, a little bit too drawn into some of the trash talk and extracurriculars of the game at times, in my opinion, my humble opinion. We know what Shamar Turner is. I want to see him play a clean, focused game where he gets after it and dominates. I want to see Albert Regis continue to build. He's growing into a much bigger role this year. I think he had some good moments last game. I think he got blocked a little bit too easily at times last game. Go dominate the entire game versus McNeese. And obviously, we want to see those rotational guys. They're going to get more of a look this game. I didn't think Hicks had any impact in that last game, unfortunately. Big opportunity for Hicks to gain some confidence, find some rhythm. Want to see that all from those interior guys specifically. And I don't like necessarily putting numbers on things, but I'm going to versus McNeese. We heard in the Pulse, if you were able to stomach watching the Pulse after a loss, credit to you. I watched it. Elko was preaching the turnover battle. Not only taking care of the ball, but specifically preaching, we want takeaways. I want to see at least one this game. Is a turnover too much to ask for versus McNeese? No. Get a turnover. And this is a tall order against any team, I would say. But not so much against McNeese. I want to see 3 sacks. 3 sacks this game. You didn't record a single sack last game. I think there were some plays that maybe could have been recorded as sacks where Riley Leonard kind of got back to the line of scrimmage. They were close. Capitalize. Leave no doubt. 1 turnover, 3 sacks. Those are just some numbers I'm throwing out there. Offensive side of the ball. And I don't even really know what to say about Connor besides just be better. He should not only improve this game, he should play really, really well against McNeese. And again, I don't like throwing numbers out there, but is 250 yards passing too much to ask? I mean, I think that's a fine number versus McNeese. He can do it. That's what I want to see. Take care of the ball. But really, I just want to see him decisive. I want to see strong base, good footwork. I don't want him to play rushed despite whatever look you're getting. He played more rushed than he needed to last game. I want to see him navigate the pocket well, step up in the pocket, give your offensive tackles more space to work, better angles to work with. And I really want to see him smiling and having fun again. I can't imagine he's had a good week. I can't imagine he's felt good about what happened Saturday. First of all, just the competitor he is, living with his performance. But second of all, maybe he closed the doors to social media. Maybe he didn't read anything, but he feels what people saw what he did. I want to see good vibes from Connor Wigman. I want him to give himself a reason to smile and just have fun and feel good going into the big Week 3 game versus Florida. I also want to see absolute domination versus the McNeese front by the offensive line. Look, they played really, really well versus a good defensive line in Notre Dame. Of all the negatives of the offense, I think the offensive line is a positive development, and I don't think that's a hot take at this point. I think everybody saw that much better than what we had seen the last couple of years, and against a solid test in Week 1 as a new configuration. Besides Trezoun at left tackle, you had new places in every spot from left guard to the right side. You should absolutely dominate this front if you played well versus Notre Dame. Leave no doubt. Play to your ability. Exceed expectations this week. Just play really, really well and just be a really good offensive line. I want to see them clear the way for a 100-yard outing for Le'Veon Moss. The go-to guy for the Aggies. Make no mistake, he's the bell cow. He's the running back one. We've heard Elko talk about it. It was clear how they used him in a lot of different ways, that he is one of the absolute playmakers for this offense. 100-plus yard outing for Moss. He's learning how to be a gamer. He's learning how to be a go-to guy on an SEC football team, and this is a great opportunity to gain that confidence and gain that belief in himself in that role, which I'm sure he already has, but even more so in an opportunity versus McNeese. And I want to see Amari and EJ get major opportunities by way of a blowout and getting them in late. I want to see a walk-on play. Get the walk-on in the game. Come on, let's see a lot of running backs. Receivers, just get open, man. Get open. You had a bad outing last week. Take it out on this team. And I know you had your moments. Connor will find you this week. You have to believe he will. But if someone's lined up against you, man, get open. Just be solid. Be solid within your assignment. Be better. Take the opportunity at hand. And as a bonus, someone mentioned it in the chat before, I want to see Terry Bussey get in the end zone, baby. I want to see him at least be productive this game within the offensive scheme. I think there's a good chance this is a game where he has an opportunity to get a kick return, right, against this level of opposition. And you know what? He was pretty solid in returning punts and fielding punts, returning kicks last game, getting positive yardage, making people miss. Of course, stuff got walled off. He didn't break through, but he looked elusive and he looked solid out there. This is an opportunity to get one. Can we see an early Terry Bussey touchdown? Get that thing rolling. He's going to play a big role on this team this year. You lose Ruben Owens. You need some more explosive weapons. He's one of them. Let's see it. But overall, and probably most importantly, I want this team to start really, really fast. No hangover. No lasting effects of the loss. Show that you're able to turn the page. I want it early and often, guys. I don't want to see this thing take a couple drives. I don't want to see early mistakes. I don't want to see penalties early in the game. I want it to start right away. I want you to build that confidence going into SEC play where you have everything to play for. And this is kind of like a 1-2 combo going into the rest of the season. This follow-up is kind of a 2-year cycle, right? I mean, a 2-week cycle coming off that Notre Dame game. You have McNeese to get right, and then you have Florida to prove it to yourself. Start it on a really good foot in the first opening minutes of this game. That's it. No, it's not too much. No, that's a lot of things I want to see, but I think we're very much capable of seeing everything I just listed there, everything I just laid out, even the numbers that I threw out there. I think that stuff is very attainable, and I think it's a really good sign for things to come if we do it. All right, let's check in with the chat before we get into some of the calls. Right now, we only have one caller waiting. It's Big Mac. If you want a chance to enter the Hall of Fame and give me your score prediction, I invite you guys to call in. We only have one caller waiting. I also want to hear what you need to see from the Aggies to feel better about the rest of the season. And I know it's versus McNeese, but there's still a lot you can do in the game like this. Ryan Aren says, mainly just want to see Wigman and the receivers connecting more and see better linebacker play. Absolutely. We just went through that stuff. I totally agree with you. Jackson says, think we're still going to have a very successful season. Notre Dame was a very underrated squad, in my opinion. We hope they're really, really freaking good, and that defense looks really, really freaking good. That secondary is insane. They could do a lot of different things against us with, our receivers that are still, working through some things, and a secondary that absolutely was able to hit the season running. Yeah, they're a really good defense, and we're going to definitely keep an eye on Notre Dame. There's a really good chance they're going to win 11 games this year now, guys. Their schedule's manageable, and they're a good team. They're really well coached. Chris Cobb says, Connor won't get sacked this game. The O-line will be ready to play defense. Will be ready to play defense will get a lot of sacks. I want to see the defense get sacks for sure on the board this week. And only gave up 1 sack last week, and that was with some bad quarterback play. And that 1 sack was when Naboo and Armage both when Armage left the game with a cramp or something, Naboo came back into the game after tearing his ACL or whatever happened. He tried to give it a go, and Howard Cross was able to penetrate through Shanahan in one of his first reps in the game, and Naboo on the help. Naboo had no leverage and nothing to push off of there. A fluky-ish sack, I would say. Played pretty damn clean offensive line-wise. It wasn't perfect, but, I mean, come on. It's a good front, and they held their own. No sacks this game. I want to see it too, Chris Cobb. I agree. Rewatching the game, the linebackers reacted very, very slow. Yes, they did. Scooby's athleticism got him into some positive plays, but it still wasn't the cleanest game by Scooby. Both linebackers need to improve and just be where they're supposed to be, react well to the plays. Absolutely agree, Jeb. Good point. Alex Flo agrees too. Chris Cobb is still 9-3 or 10-2. I love it. I love the confidence. Jeb says they gave up 200 yards rushing, concerns me a little bit. Yes, but I will say that, yeah, for sure it's concerning because, I mean, however you gain it, I know there were a couple chunk plays responsible for a lot of that, specifically the Jadarian Price 50-yard touchdown. That play was mostly on Torian, some bad angles by the secondary. Clean up these instances. You had a couple of bad instances on defense specifically. It was a few plays and a few drives that really killed you. Clean it up, but play that with that same intensity. Shan says, a little late, but howdy. I need a win Saturday to have a good work week next week. I know. Doesn't the week just suck after a loss, man? Oh, I know doing this and making the videos and the channel stuff feels a little bit better after a win. I know McNeese won't be totally satisfying, but it'll make us feel a hell of a lot better. We'll get ultimate answers versus Florida, but you can get some good signs versus McNeese. Regis didn't really play well, missing those nose guards. He didn't really impact the game at a high level. I saw some good stuff. I saw some bad stuff. He's stepping into a major role. This is a chance to really start getting some good stuff under his belt this weekend. Jeb says, I sadly watched the Pulse last night. It was like a sad watch with like a bottle, with like a cup of red wine and maybe some candy. Yeah, me too, man. Me too. McCavin says, I always watch the Pulse no matter what. I'm kind of getting to that. I think in like 2022, I didn't watch after losses, but last year I started to do it, and now I do it. I mean, you still get a better feel for the team, and you get the practice clips. And interestingly, on the Pulse this week, there was no post-game speech by the coach on camera. Sounds like Elko said, nope, no cameras. I'm talking to my boys. So interesting. They sugarcoated the Pulse the best they could. They always do. I always watch the Pulse. Last night, Elko is our leader. I love Elko as a leader, man. Full belief still. Full belief. The coach show at Rudy's was good as well. Elko takes accountability. Absolutely he does. Absolutely. He doesn't shy away from it. Absolutely. Okay, well, I don't know how I'm reading this right now. If we somehow lose to McNeese, which will not happen, we gotta fire Elko. Okay, so you're gonna eat dog shit out of a solo cup if we lose to McNeese, right? World's greatest dude, like that one guy for FSU who vanished on us. Someone's got to do that for A&M because it ain't happening. I'm more likely to get a girlfriend in the next 3 seconds than A&M losing to McNeese. Okay, fair. You cleaned up. You cleaned up with that one. We'll see many touchdowns from Terry this weekend. I hope so. Jeb says I'll call after. Looking forward to it, Jeb. Always love to hear from you. I think we should see more DJ Hicks instead of Regis. Look, as a nose, I think I still like Regis more as a clogger, as just a double team occupier. Hicks has shown to be not as firm in those trenches. I think I'm still leaning Regis there for now. 2022 was the hardest it's ever been. Yeah, that was the hardest. That was the hardest year to watch the Pulse. Absolutely. Yugi says, guys, relax. We lost to the national champions this year in a close games. They are the champions, 100%. Notre Dame's winning it at all. The week drags on after a loss. You're right, Drew, 100%. The FSU guy. All right, guys, let's get into the calls. And also on these calls or in the chat, if you want to give your Texas-Michigan prediction. Anybody got Michigan upsetting Texas this weekend? It seems like a tall task. That's a lot of new players on that team, new coaches. I don't know if it happens, but we'll be watching intently. All right, guys, let's get into the calls. Big Mac, you're on with Drew. How's it going, my friend?
How you doing, man?
Not too bad. What's on your mind, man?
Well, I'm definitely not going to give a score prediction this week. My brother coaches for McNeese.
Oh, nice.
So I've got a little conflict of interest there, so I'm not going to give any prediction, especially against my own brother.
So we got your brother, we got R.C. Slocum, and we got Ryan Broniger. Nice. I mean, yeah, there's some cool relations going on with McNeese. Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, he got his master's at A&M. and
Oh,
now he coaches for McNeese.
this is quite the conflict for y'all then. Dang.
Yeah, this will be his first time coaching in an FBS stadium, and it's
Dang.
at Kyle Field, so that's gonna be sick.
What an experience, man. Good for them to be able to do that. I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah, it'll be cool. But things I want to see this week, I really want to see separation from wide receivers. If we can't, like, I understand we can't do it against Notre Dame, maybe, but if we can't do it against McNeese, then we got a real issue.
Correct. Yep, absolutely.
So that's one of the big things. And then other than that, I just want to see a clean game. McNeese in their last game had some special teams plays that swung the game for them against Southern. And I think if we make any special teams errors, if we have any penalties, if we turn the ball over, anything like that, anything unclean, I'm not going to like it.
Absolutely. And one of the things A&M did pretty well last week was all facets of special teams. So definitely want to keep that up. Definitely want to clean up the turnovers. Definitely want to force a turnover or two. We heard Elko preaching that, and that'd be nice to get against McNeese, 100%.
Yeah, which I don't know who they're going to start at quarterback. They have a pretty badass kid named Clifton McDowell, and
yeah, I've heard.
I don't know if he's going to be able to play, but
is he playing? Is he hurt? Did he get hurt last week?
Yeah, he got hurt during the Southern game, and they've been talking about not knowing whether or not he's going to be the starter or not. But the guy that they have behind him, his last name is Six Killer, which is badass.
That is badass.
He's pretty good too. I've seen clips and practice of him. So
yeah, I'm sure you're following pretty closely. That's pretty badass, man. That's pretty cool connection y'all have going there. Yeah, man, totally agree. There were several third downs where you definitely didn't execute, penalties, self-inflicted wounds on third downs, on fourth down conversion attempts. That stuff has to go away, and that stuff could surface in a game like this because that's you beating yourself. So totally agree there, 100%, man.
Yeah, and one of the major things I saw, especially during the Notre Dame game, was just like offenses getting lined up in a quick manner. It looked a little confusing at times for them.
So yeah, that's a good point.
Especially wide receivers.
Yeah, I was noticing some really late alignments, and I wasn't necessarily sure if those were by design just to keep the defense off balance, or if that was just receivers working through their assignments. I couldn't really tell.
Yeah, there was one for sure that was definitely just like they started out wide and then they went into like a doubles, like a close split.
Yeah.
But there were times where the wide receivers are looking over at the sideline with their arms wide out.
Yep.
Looking for a call.
Yeah, and I loved that sneak play that they ran early in the game, but that exactly what you're describing is what killed that play. Jade didn't get aligned. He was moving.
Yeah, he didn't get set.
Yep. He was, arms up, palms up, looking for what to do. And yeah, that's got to get cleaned up. And that stuff you definitely can show versus McNeese and improve on right away and get to like somewhat definitive answers. You're just playing cleaner for sure.
Yeah, just more disciplined is really all I want to see. I don't think there's going to be a lot that we can take away talent-wise from this game. It's not like we're going to – like if our wide receivers bust open, it's not like I'm going to sit here and be like, okay, we're going to be cool for the rest of the year.
Yeah, I'd feel better if it's just consistent separation more so than just like some busted plays for sure. And even that, it's still McNeese. So, yeah, totally agree. Do you want to give any feels for the Texas-Michigan game? Do you have anything towards that?
Yeah, I think Texas takes it. I think it's actually – probably not that close. I think it's going to be Texas 24, Michigan 10.
Yeah.
Kind of an ass whooping.
Yep. Seems like that's going to be the case. So, all right, we'll have to live with that. Any closing thoughts, Big Mac? Thanks for calling in, man.
I'm good, man. I'm going to be wearing McNeese gear at the game, but with my Aggie ring on, it's going to be, I guess technically I'm going to lose and win no matter what happens. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, good luck to your family, man. That's a really cool situation y'all got, and have fun at the game, man.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Later. All right. Good call from Big Mac. Let's catch up with the chat, and then we have Noble Guy and Play to Win coming in. Anybody else wants to get on the phone line tonight? We have open lines beyond that. Jeb says, I'd rather see Dindy over Hicks and Regis. I still think Notre Dame passing game isn't strong, though. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Dindy. I think it just sounds like he's been out of football for so long. He hasn't found his rhythm yet. He hasn't found his strengths yet. And it's probably going to be a practice thing. This is definitely the kind of game where you're going to see Dindy. Every time I've seen Dindy on the field, he does this one thing that I think the team is kind of missing right now, and he just impacts offensive linemen, drives them back, is powerful. But outside of that, I don't know what he's going through. I don't know what he's shown in practice throughout preseason camp. So good opportunity for Dindy this week. And yeah, I don't know if Notre Dame's passing game is strong. And I am still curious, as high as I am on the secondary, to see how they handle a strong passing attack, see how they can keep a lid on an attack like that you might see from Texas or even a Missouri later in the year. That's going to be an interesting test when it comes to that, and maybe Florida can test that too. So definitely something to keep an eye on because, yeah, we're not sure if Notre Dame has a super strong passing attack just yet. It'd be nice if they go out and just are dominant in the passing game over the next few weeks, but for sure remains to be seen there. I don't know if Michigan has the offense or quarterback. For that game, I want to see more Orgy, and I don't know if they're going to do it. I think they're really high on that guy who was a walk-on who played really well in spring. I forget his name. I wish an ideal game for Michigan is a game where you have some really, really long sustained drives on both sides of the field, and they shorten the game. Maybe like an 8 or 9 possession game versus like an 11, 12, 13 possession game. And I think that would be Michigan's best chance for winning. And I feel like a running attack with Orgy would be the best path for that, but I don't know their personnel well enough to say that that's their best course of action. Like I said, I know they feel really good about that other guy, and Orgy might be more of like a red zone threat. And unfortunately, I'm in agreement with Big Mac. I think this is a clear Texas win by, I think it'll be relatively close, like a 14-point win, a 17-point win, somewhere in that realm. But I think it's fairly dominant. I think the home field will play a factor, but I just think Texas is just, way further along their arc with players and returning stars and returning production, where Michigan's very much in a reset right now. So, yeah, I don't know if they have the offense or the quarterback either, Jeb. But they have enough to make it interesting, potentially. Jackson says, yeah, I forgot about Dindy, honestly. Yeah, I know. Give him time. He could be a guy that emerges later in the year. Give us the inside scoop on McNeese State. Look, I've not done much McNeese prep. The best we're going to get is what we just got from Big Mac there. His family, his brother coaches there, so that's huge. Cool to get that from him. Last time we played McNeese, they nearly almost upset us. Let's not go there. Kai, good to see you, Kai. I think we all obviously think we're going to win, but I want to see how well we can win against an opponent like this, 50-point deficit at least. That's what I want to see. Let me know. I'll be the last caller if you can make time for me. Absolutely. As of right now, we should have time for you, Jeb, for sure. Michigan has the defense to keep it a close game. Yep. Shan says, is it Shane or Shan? Let me know. I honestly think the amount of eyes on us Saturday just messed with the guys. I literally can't imagine. Glad they took one on the chin and got the loss out of the way. Hopefully the loss benefits us. It can. There's a world where you make that your best friend and you really are able to hone in on your deficiencies. And I think what you're describing there, the eyes, the gaze upon you in this game, I think it really got to Wigman. Because I have to, at this point, without further context, without, the next iteration of what happens, I feel like most of what happened with Connor was probably psychological and between the ears and feeling that pressure and, just being out for so long and getting back into game speed and so much new offense, new everything. The way he went down last year, maybe he's seeing some ghosts out there in his first game back. And I have to imagine he was working through some stuff between the ears for sure. So, yeah, there's a good chance they can get past that. I want to play both quarterbacks. We've beaten one quarterback in a submission. They bring in the next one. Okay, Noble, I like it. All right, guys. Let's get to the next caller. Noble guy, you're on with Drew. How you feeling, man?
More rational now, I guess. I guess everyone was, obviously pretty upset up until like Tuesday or Wednesday. And then, I don't know, if you watch ball at all, then, I think we played pretty well excited the quarterback. And that was a good team we played against. And, week one, everyone's just, it's not fair to Elko, but everyone's looking through the lens of we've lost, X amount of games in the last 3 years. And they're putting it on Elko, even though it had nothing to do with it.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, it's an antsy fan base, right? Itching for big wins, itching to make a stamp. So, I somewhat understand the immediate knee-jerk reaction, but I think like you're saying here, a lot of people have kind of settled in after a couple of days, realize where we are, and just, want to see things play out.
Yeah, and I didn't particularly love the amount of vitriol that some of our players received. It's like, dude, we cannot be even bringing up benching quarterbacks after, or any player really, after one performance, especially against a team that caliber, and with the context already given. It's if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, but let's too soon to say.
Yeah, for sure, man, for sure. Yeah, I always hate to see that stuff, and I think it's just people sometimes deal with emotions certain ways, and I think it's a bad look as well. But what are you looking for versus McNeese, man? What are things you need to see to feel a little bit better? I know we're not going to get definitive answers versus McNeese, but what are some of the good signs you're looking for?
Yeah, and I think what we're looking for, and it may seem a bit, aggressive or even like too much to ask for, but I don't think it is. I think it looked for a perfect game. I think I want our defense to keep them under 14 points, like no more than 20, that's for sure. Unless we're
Yeah.
feeling meaningful. And then we score like 40 plus. And we
Yeah.
shortened the game, like you said, and there's no reason why we can't. We played well against Notre Dame, like I said. O-line held up well. DBs were playing great. Linebackers could do a little bit better, but I expect them to be able to, take a big step up.
Yeah.
And then, just see what the offensive identity of the team looks like. I guess that the real question. Like, I'm curious to see like what is the run to pass ratio in a Colin Klein offense when he can just do whatever he wants.
Yeah, we're going to get a lot of answers there because it's definitely going to be able to breathe more this week. And yeah, finding an identity is huge. And just, you said perfect game. And whatever that means versus McNeese, I think for us, it means playing minimal penalties, minimal mistakes, minimal self-inflicted wounds, no self-inflicted wounds. And you said no more than 14. That's exactly where I am. If I don't want to see anything over 14. I understand like things happen and there's a chance they can, capitalize on something and score a touchdown or score something late. But no more than 14 if you're going to put a number on it. I'm totally with you there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think ideal is like 14-9 or something like that.
Oh, yeah. I never gave my score prediction. I'll tell y'all now that you're bringing it up. I'm going 52-10. That's my classic blowout score. I'm going 52-10. That's my prediction.
I think I'm very achievable too.
Yeah.
I guess honestly, like this week is more of a get right before Florida. That one's probably gonna have a lot more talking points to it.
Yeah.
And then I guess I don't know. Was there anything else that you wanted to add to the game? I don't think there's a whole lot to add that you discussed about this particular game.
No, I mean, I do want to see some stuff from Bussy. That's one of the specifics I want to get into. I mean, I guess it would be nice to see Noah become that weapon we can see. We've seen from him at times before, but kind of a bad sign in game one, I think, to not have him involved in the game at all, really. But obviously you can overcome that and get better there. I think those are a couple players I want to see from on offense. Yeah, I want to see Moss continue to grow and just he's a go-to guy now. He has to become a gamer and kind of get that. What's the word? I guess the clutch gene is a way to put it where, like on that, whatever it was, like a 9-yard out for the first down conversion, he didn't have the wherewithal to extend and get that first down. I want to see little things like that just maximize his utility because he's going to be a guy that that's leaned upon a lot.
Yeah, I think, I want to see him be able to hit the hole in stride because there was a couple times the O-line opened up some pretty big gaps and he would run through them, but he could have gone for, like, beyond the 7 yards. He probably could have gone for, like, 15, 20. Who knows what happens after that? Because he was good at, like, moving the pile, chugging along. But then there was he needs to find the hole better than he does. The vision needs to be better.
Yeah, and obviously a part of that's going to be once you get to that third level, there's some really, really good players for Notre Dame up there too. But,
True.
You can do that against McNeese, and I would love to see it. I mean, the O-line needs to remain dominant. Build on what you did in week one versus a good defense.
Yeah, I think I'll add a long touchdown run to the wish list if we're adding to this.
Yeah,
a long touchdown run, and then and I guess I'm more interested in because I'm in a pick'em league and I could use y'all's help on some of the games I have to still pick on this week.
So I actually don't even really know what a pick'em league is. Explain that to me. What do you mean by that? Okay.
So a pick'em league it's just you select games based on their spreads.
Gotcha. Look, I've been doing some light sports betting this year. I try not to get too deep into it because I just get pissed off. I don't see a lot of confident plays.
Well, your picks for last week were pretty good, if I recall.
I think I was pretty solid on them. I think I had the Arizona one. I got USC right. Yes.
We were both right on about that one.
The crazy thing about that game is it wasn't a shootout. That game went fast. I mean, they had some long-ass drives, and with the way that the first downs work now and the clock doesn't stop, that game kind of flew by, and the game got shortened. Yeah,
it was a good game. I think we were both right and wrong at the same time. Like, ultimately, our prediction was right. How we got there was kind of wrong. But I think
yeah, for sure.
And I'll give I'll tell I told my LSU buddy this. I think actually it's kind of scary how low scoring that game is because I think both teams are always going to have good offenses. This is what they do. But that means like they both have good enough defenses to hold each other underneath 28.
It's a great point. Yeah, maybe LSU's defense is a little bit better than we thought. And I do want to give some feelings towards LSU because John Emery, a guy that's been there for like 5 years, got hurt for the season in practice this week, and that's a guy who's battled through a lot, and it kind of sucks to see that even for our rival. He's out for the year, and he's a guy that's just getting back into things, and you can tell by the way he runs. He's a big, strong runner, but he's a little bit, you can tell he's a little battle scarred on his cuts, and now taking another injury. That really sucks for him. I hope he comes back and makes another recovery, but that was brutal to see for LSU. Not even during the game. That happened during practice after the game. That sucks for their running back.
Yeah, I think LSU and A&M are, and this is where we need to take advantage because LSU has always been that tier that A&M wants to get to, and it looks like, and it could be like any year LSU can slip off that edge because it doesn't seem like they're pushing for tier 1 nearly as much anymore under Brian Kelly.
Yeah.
And A&M, if we do things right, can kind of fill that in.
Yeah.
Because we're just competing to compete right now at this point in time.
Yeah.
And we'll have to see what we can build over time.
Yeah.
But,
if you want to talk one more game before we go to Play to Win, who's waiting in the call-in room next, I'm interested to see that Colorado-Nebraska game. A really nice contrast of styles there. Nebraska, kind of a program built from the trenches, built with substance. Colorado, kind of the flashier team with like the big skill position guys, and like that offensive trio that they have of weapons is going to kind of carry the team. And I think that game's at Nebraska. It's going to be an interesting game too. And I think Nebraska's like a 7-point favorite or something like that.
Yeah, 7-point favorite. I keep going back and forth because I'm fairly sure Nebraska is going to win. It's covering the spread is going to be tough to tell
Right.
the team because they have a great passing attack by any standard. Their wide receiver weapons are legit, and the quarterback is really good. I think Shedeur Sanders is a really good quarterback. But great quarterback.
And the crazy thing, last week versus North Dakota State, I wasn't watching super closely, but from what I could tell, he had like no protection, and he was still getting the ball out of there and finding guys no matter what. Just decisive and big and just a strong base. And yeah, he can do that against anybody apparently, no matter how much time he has. But big step up in competition. It'll be interesting to see. I'm going to watch that one for sure.
Yeah, I think Dylan Raiola is pretty good based on all accounts.
Yeah, he looks good.
Yeah, and so this is a game because Nebraska can score almost at will, I think, against Colorado.
Possibly.
They can do. I think they can do whatever they want offense. If they're smart, they'll play keep away, and because the Colorado defense is not good enough to stop them.
Right.
And they'll, especially now they have a quarterback that can handle the snap, unlike last year.
Yeah.
I think Nebraska can cover the spread. It's just difficult because they could be up by like 10 or something like that, and then Nebraska just Colorado scores like worthless points at the end, just a quick spoiler.
Yeah.
But I'll pick Nebraska to cover for now.
Yeah, and it's like you were saying, it's not a strong feel. I don't really have a strong feel in any game this weekend, but do you want to give your score prediction for the A&M game to get your chance for the Hall of Fame?
Oh, yeah. He said, oh, dang. Dude, I like 52-10.
You want to take it? You can take it. No one's taking it. Mine doesn't count, so I'll give you 52-10.
Yeah, I like 52-10.
That's my classic blowout score. That's my go-to blowout score. You give up a touchdown and a field goal, probably a field goal early, touchdown late, and you impose your will, score like 35 in the first half, clean up with a few more points.
A solid score. And then I'll tell our A&M fan base to prepare for the cacophony of noise after Texas beats Michigan soundly. It's gonna be loud.
Yep. Oh, so you're going there too. All right. I respect it. I get it. Yep. But you got 52-10, and you just want to see a perfect, clean game. All right, Noble. Sounds good, man. Well, good luck with your pick'em this weekend. Did you have a fantasy draft too?
I did. Yeah. I just locked it in right before the stream went live. So we got money in this one. So I'm a little nervous, but I'm projected as the number 2 team. So we got to execute, boys.
Hell yeah. Get after it. Find the inches, Noble. All right, man. You have a good night.
All right. You too. Bye now.
Later. All right, that was Noble. We got Play to Win next, but we're going to go through the chat first, and we'll catch up there and go into the next caller. All right. Oop, I lost y'all. Okay. Jeb says, I know nerves are part of the game, but damn, you shouldn't be that nervous as a third-year player. It's a third-year player, but look, 8 games started. That was his 9th game after the big layover. I'm not trying to excuse it, but I'm trying to, contextualize what happened there, and I'm imagining that played a big role. Shane says it's Shane. I think you're saying Shane. I think that's Shane. Shan? No, that's Shan. It's Shan. Okay. Nailed it the first time. My bad, Shan. All right, we got Shan in here. Connor said he wasn't nervous, but the way he looked in the pocket, I think he looked nervous. I didn't think his eyes looked specifically nervous, but definitely in the pocket, the way his footwork was and the way he reacted to perceived pressure, even if it wasn't getting through, it was a nervous style of play, or an antsy style of play for sure. Parzival. Howdy, everyone. Good to see you, Parzival. He was nervous. His feet were dead giveaway. Yeah, the feet were definitely there. Absolutely. McGavin says, I think Elko and this team are taking some misguided shots because of the emotions Jimbo left this fan base in. We're sensitive right now, but we got to be supportive. It ain't going to happen right now. I got you. That's totally true. That's what we were kind of saying at the top of the show. I think this team is, this fan base is itching for immediate success, but sometimes these things take time. You got to get off the runway here. Maybe by the halfway point of the year, we're like a really more of a well-oiled machine, but you're working through things, finding out like coaches learning personnel learning their places in this new playbook, a lot of learning on the fly, but that doesn't mean you have to lose a bunch of games. So you need to go out there, win the games you're supposed to, beat Florida, beat Arkansas, and then give yourself a chance versus Missouri. Gary says, I too think Connor was nervous and not composed. Wouldn't surprise me if his throw-up episode was nerves, not a stomach hit. Nevertheless, I expect him to rebound. Does this team still have PTSD from Jimbo? I hope the team doesn't. I hope losing is not a habit for the team. That's a thing that can happen, but we'll see. We'll see. This is a big opportunity these next 2 weeks. Parzival says, O-line was better. Wigman doesn't know what a clean pocket looks like. That's true. That's true. He's like, what is this? What is this? I need to act as if it's not clean. Yeah, for sure. 52-10 is a realistic prediction. I hope it occurs early enough to get the number 2 some playing time. That'd be awesome. Parzival says, I don't want to say we're going to run McNeese out of the building, but I think we'll definitely do better this week. Hopefully Wigman will have gotten used to settling into the pocket. It's an opportunity to do that, just exactly that right there. Game should be over by halftime, 100%. John says 59-3 Ags. A good score. That's a really, really good score, and I can see it happening for sure. I'm not expecting much out of McNeese. I think our defense can shut them down, but we still need offense to find its rhythm. 100%. 100%. McNeese will be lucky to score. Our D should keep us in every game. They were good, and they'll only get better. Absolutely. Absolutely. Not a ton of good night games. No, but I will be watching Mississippi State, Arizona State. Just a fun matchup. And then I'm definitely going to keep an eye on Texas Tech, Washington State. It's an honor to Mike Leach, right? That'll be a fun one. McNeese is FCS. Yes, it is, Parzival. Nebraska should be better. That coach they have is decent. Yes, Shan, I got it. Shan. Play to win? You are up, good sir. What's on your mind tonight, Play to win? How you feeling, man?
What's up, Drew?
Not too much, man. Not too much. I wish this game would have happened already. I just want to see them get back at action. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, we all do it. You know, I'm kind of like you with gambling. You know, you gamble, you get pissed off.
Yeah,
you know,
it's rage-inducing.
And, you know, it's fun when I'm picking teams, when I'm not gambling, I'm an expert.
Right.
When I gamble teams, you know, I'm just on the other end. I'm just on the losing end of it. And I don't know why. And I get pissed off too.
Maybe you'd be a better advisor than a gambler itself. Maybe you'd be a gambling advisor, a bookie or something.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. That's a thought.
Just don't put your money involved with it, and then you're good.
Right. I mean, the only gambling I did was last payday. I bought $3 $10 scratch offs, and I got 2/3 of my money back. I got $20, and I felt good about that, so I quit while I was behind.
There you go. Hey, that's something.
Gave it up. But anyway, about our beloved Aggies, I think the wrecking crew shows up. They hold McNeese to 10 points,
Nice.
and then our offense shows up and scores 42. I think Connor Wigman is going to be a little bit more tighter in the pocket. I think he's going to be a little more comfortable throwing, and I don't think there's going to be a lot of overthrows. I don't think there's going to be any interceptions. And because last week was a learning curve, like you said the other night, Monday, it's a learning curve. That's what it was. We're out there to learn and what works and what doesn't, and what our weaknesses and strengths are. And I think we picked up on that because we needed to play a team like Notre Dame right out the bat.
Yep.
Right off the bat. Boom.
Amplifies everything.
It does. It's man, you know, it exposes our weakness. It exposes our strengths where we have both on both sides of the ball. And what to do against McNeese, you know, going into the game. I think that, you know, we're going to show up. We're going to have a great game.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to show out, you know, and but, you know, we're playing McNeese, you know, and that's not to belittle them in any way, you know, because, you know, if they really get mad, they might beat us, but I hope they don't.
Right.
So it's just a matter of us going there and playing the Aggie ball that we know how to play. Because there's one thing about Texas A&M, I'll tell you right now. I've seen them win and I've seen them lose, but I ain't never seen them quit.
That's right. That's
Okay,
right. That's the Aggie
that's
mantra right there.
that is it. And so we come back uh, this weekend Saturday, and we make up for the Notre Dame game. But just count it as a blessing in a way.
Yeah.
That I don't think we had. Uh, we looked like we had injuries. We had players falling out, but I think hopefully everybody's back and nobody's out of the game. I haven't heard an injury report. So
Yeah,
I
I
don't know.
haven't seen anything, and the two injuries that were kind of scary. They both came back into the game. Besides Naboo, even he gave it a try, but his wasn't a go. But Scorton went down. He came back in, and he had some good moments after the injury. You have to imagine he's okay. Armaj Reed Adams went down for a drive. He came back in. He was okay. So hopefully that's all good. I wouldn't be necessarily shocked if one of those guys ends up resting because of that. Just to get it under their belt. But I would like to see everybody play.
Yeah. Well, when it comes to the injury report, no news is good news.
For sure. Obviously.
Okay. And I'm thinking, hey, we hadn't heard anything. No news is good news. So I think everybody shows up, and except for now I can't think of his name.
Naboo.
No, our running back's out for the season.
Oh, Owens. Yeah, it's Owens and Naboo now that are both out.
Owens and that hurt.
Yeah.
All that hurt. But look, we got a lot of thankfully we got a lot of personnel, and we're going to do good. We'll do good next couple of games. And I think, like I said, I think we can go 9-3. I don't know about the playoffs. Time will tell.
Yeah.
But and you were talking about the Nebraska game.
Yeah.
It made me think of the UT game against Michigan. I think they're playing in Ann Arbor.
Yes.
Okay. And I was like, wow, I've definitely got to tune in there. Here's a problem. I'm going out of town this weekend. I'm going to Crystal Beach and play some golf and do some karaoke just to get the heck away from here. To get away for a while, just a short trip and spend a couple of nights out there. So I'm going to try to keep up, and hopefully Andrew Monaco and I think it's Dave Elmendorf. I think he's our other.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is catch the booth guys on Facebook and catch the play-by-play there. Hopefully, I can kind of follow what's going on.
Yeah, it's good to catch a game from those guys every now and then. Plus, you get to watch the highlights when you're done. You're gonna have a great weekend, and Aggies should be in a somewhat of a lower stress environment, so you can kind of relax a little bit. It'll be good. But I want to bring up a couple of things that you just brought up because I think you made a good point about how the playing Notre Dame right away amplifies everything, and we're going to be focused on negatives and Connor and getting back into his self and finding his rhythm. But I think it's very important as well to build on the strengths that you discovered in your team in that week 1 game, something you just brought up. For instance, secondary played really well, and, it's a big jump from what they were last year, and you don't want to see that take a dip or play, unclean football this week. You want to see them continue to pound forward and get even better. And on the offensive side of the ball, I think it's pretty clear the offensive line and that running attack could be a very big strength for this team. So I don't want to see any regression there. I don't want to see play sloppy, any holds, anything crazy, any personal fouls, nothing like that. I want to see all of that get built on and then improve upon your negatives. Those are some good points you brought up.
Yeah, I'll try it. I hope that our passing lanes open at 3rd and long.
Yep.
I hope this time that they open and Connor can air it out, 30, 40, 50 yards down the field, and see how that goes. And it just might, it might break open early and we finish up the game at halftime.
Yep.
And we just bring in our others. We'll bring in the second string. We'll and let them play it out. That would be great.
You'd love to see that.
Some experience early.
Yep. I'd love to see some of those defensive linemen. I would love to see DJ Hicks get a lot more look this game. I want to see Gabriel Brownlow-Dindy get out there. I want to see a lot of those guys play, and then just get some guys that don't see as much playing time, some experience. Yeah, that'd all be great, man. That'd all be great. Any closing thoughts, Play to Win?
That's going to make my Saturday. If the second string gets to play,
right.
I'm going to be a happy guy, and we're going to be a bunch of happy Aggie fans. And like I said, I'm picking A&M to win 42-10. That's
all right. I got you written down. You're in the running for Hall of Fame. All right, man. Thanks for the call. It was a good time. Have a good night and enjoy your trip.
You too, buddy. Thanks.
Bye. All right, let's catch up with the chat, and then we have Matthew Dawson of the Redshirt Sophomore Podcast waiting to get on. We'll hear from him in a second. I'm excited to hear from him. I'm sure he has some thoughts coming off of what happened last week and going into the rest of the season. Jeb says Mississippi State, Arizona State's going to be a fun one. I agree. I'm looking forward to that one. I'm looking forward to the Texas Tech Wazoo game as well. Those will both be fun late night games for me. Nothing high profile, but those are still fun games. 3 $10 scratch offs, baby. Oh man, scratch offs are a trip. That's funny. Shan says, I always lose my bets. I would put money on every team on our schedule this season and be golden. Yeah, just lose them all for us. Come on, Shan. Come on. This is pretty much just a scrimmage game for A&M. It's more than a scrimmage, but yeah, I hear what you're saying. I'd be good with college preseason games. Yeah, that's maybe a good point there. All right. Matthew Dawson, you're on with Drew. Man, how are you feeling 4 or 5 days after going to the next week? How are you feeling now on a Thursday, Matthew?
I mean, I'm feeling good because NFL football's back, right? So, I mean, Thursday night just took a step away. I'm like, holy cow, Drew has his call-in show tonight. I'm like, I got to get on this. So,
hell yeah.
Sorry if I missed the other
No, dude,
points
you're good.
I made, and I repeat something that someone else already said.
No, your points are welcome. Bring it on, man.
But yeah, I mean, nothing that I think the Aggies do this week is going to make me necessarily feel better, moving forward. Although I can feel worse, right? Like that's not to be too negative because I do think that like we are going to see a better performance from the Aggies. I think we're going to see the offensive line once again give them clean pockets. McNeese is not a good receivers. Would love to see the clamps from our DBs once again.
Yep.
Maybe more of a rotation. Just like to see like everyone. Like that's what I want to see. I want to see everyone in the defensive back play. I want to see Moose maybe get more than 8 snaps this week. Whether it's in garbage time or whatever. I want to see him get more snaps.
Yeah.
Not necessarily that would have changed the game. Okay, just that I like seeing everything that we have. I think that's important. And then Connor just I'm gonna be eyeing that PFF. I think his time to throw was like 2.72 or whatever, and that's like 0.2 of a second slower than he's ever been. So it just looked like he was a little off schedule. I just want to see him on schedule. I want to see wide receivers make separation and make plays. I want to see the DBs clamp on those receivers. Those are the main things that I'm looking for, and I want to see Torian York bounce back.
Absolutely, and we know he has it in him. We saw it all year last year. So I mean, I'm expecting that. I hope to see it. This is the week where you have to show it. I mean, like you said, I'm kind of describing this as kind of like a 2-week process coming off of that week 1, information gathering / loss game. And, it's not going to all be healed or fixed or anything like that with McNeese. But you can feel worse after McNeese, and you'd better feel good going into the Florida game. So, yeah, I'm with you there. And, yeah, man, it's hard to say, like, just be better, Connor. Just play like yourself. Play like you've played before. Right. Just do it. That's it. And I don't know. This is a weird point to bring up, but what do you think it was?
Dude, I wish. Look, if I had to answer that, I think I'd be on the sidelines there with Coach Elko.
Yeah,
absolutely dialing up plays for them. But I think the reality is, though, I'll give my best guess is that you're in a new offense, right? Things look differently. You played against an elite secondary, and they were in like man coverage.
Yeah.
So that was something, and maybe you get to a point where there were some times when Noah was open when they ran some Tampa 2 stuff, and
yep,
you're like maybe he read that as man because they were running it as man 70% of the time. It's like
right.
Like this is again the Notre Dame team that held Caleb Williams to 199 yards and 3 picks. So look, I understand if people are upset and people are like, oh, I want to go in the weekend and I want to see Jalen Henderson and Marcel Reed, and like I want to see him too, but for a different reason than probably some other people do.
Absolutely.
I think Connor's the guy moving forward. All right, I'm not super worried about him yet. Even if he doesn't do great in the game, I'm still gonna hold out optimism as well. Because that'll be the first road game of the season, and by the way, when have the Aggies ever been good on the road in the last 4 years? So I don't know. I've thought about it a lot, and I think Connor, it was just multiple things. And people like to point to the happy feet. Like, sure, the footwork, that could have been an accuracy issues, but I think in general, I think the more concerning thing, because we've seen him be accurate, right? We've seen him be accurate. Like, it's more about being on schedule. Is to me like, and that's what I want to see from him this weekend against McNeese State. And those corners, look, they're not that big. I think their biggest corners like 6'1", 187.
Yeah.
Uh, I I would love to see them take some chances downfield and really show off their athleticism and gain some confidence heading into SEC play.
100%. I want to see the O-line dominate. They played well enough last week, and this is obviously a much more manageable opportunity. Don't slack. Don't make mistakes. No penalties there. You saw some critical penalties on third downs. Clean that up. That's you doing that to yourself. That's something you can improve in a game versus McNeese. I want to see Le'Veon Moss. He's a go-to guy now. Get some more quality reps under your belt. And, I don't know. Do you want to talk about Marcus Radcliffe and these safeties? I'm sure you were hyped. What did you think when he was out there at the first team?
Can I just say, what did we tell your viewers, by the way? Like, way back when no one was thinking about Marcus Radcliffe, you and I were like, holy cow, this guy is absolutely nuts. And, look, PFF, and, like, I like looking at PFF for mostly, like, their snap counts and, certain quarterback metrics and, like, where certain players were playing so I can get, like, kind of a basis of, like, what kind of looks they were giving. But Marcus Radcliffe didn't really grade out well on PFF because he had a couple missed tackles, but I think he had a lot of missed tackles because he was everywhere.
He was absolutely.
I thought he was awesome. I really did. I thought he took on blocks well. I thought, downfield and coverage, I thought he was fine. Yeah, sure, he had a couple missed tackles, but, we had 18 missed tackles as a team, right? So you're going to point at one person having missed tackles like you're crazy, right?
Yeah.
Torian missed tackles, Bryce Anderson missed tackles. So I thought Marcus Radcliffe was awesome. Same with Trey Jones. I know you look back, I saw you on Twitter, were hyping up Trey Jones. So I thought he played awesome. I thought Will Lee was really good. And I know he got beat by Bo Collins like a couple times, but I was very encouraged by that. I was encouraged by Javon Thomas. It's not the best group of receivers that we're going to see all year or the best quarterback, in terms of pushing the ball down the field. But I was very, very happy with the way that our secondary played, given that was a question mark heading into the season.
And that was their first game as a unit. That was everything. That was them for the first time playing together. And, Des Rick's first time in action in college football. Javon Thomas coming back from a pretty – he learned some tough lessons last year, and he came back and played well. And, I thought Will Lee was awesome in the game. You got to tip your hat to Bo Collins on that late clutch grab. That was just beastly. That was awesome by Bo Collins right there. But – yeah, man, I'm curious to see what they do against a better passing attack. Maybe Florida can test them a little bit more, but definitely Missouri. Probably LSU and down the road Texas. I'm definitely excited to see those matchups. But last question for you, because I want to get your feel for this. Once Dalton Brooks comes back, how do you think that ripple effect kind of hits that safety rotation? Do you think Trey Jones is out? Do you think they all play? What do you see happening there?
I don't know, because what it looked like, I believe he played safety when he played for like that one snap that he had, right, where he got the targeting penalty.
He was kind of like a third safety out there. They left Radcliffe out there, they put him out there, and they only played one linebacker, I think.
Yeah, it was like a dime. Was it a dime package? I guess I don't know. Whatever it was. Yeah. I liked it a lot, and I could definitely see Elko doing a lot of that in the future. And I don't think, and you and I we've talked about this. Those starters that were out there on Saturday in the secondary, I don't think that those are going to be the same five guys that start necessarily week 14, right? I think that's going to be a constant battle, back and forth. I think Dalton Brooks is going to be part of that rotation because he just had way too good of a camp to not reward him for that, And the one thing I was surprised, I guess, people that are more in the know than me, I guess, didn't see it as a surprise. But I don't know. I saw Dalton Brooks more as like a free safety than a strong safety. But I guess they like Bryce Anderson there at that free safety spot, which, he didn't have the best game last weekend, but you trust him in that spot. That strong safety spot. If Bryce Anderson, he's going to play free safety. There's just it's hard because there's not enough snaps to go around. A strong safety nickel, like maybe it is like you just run more dime packages, like especially on those third and longs, which hopefully you would anticipate having a lot of those against McNeese State.
Yeah.
And even Florida for that matter. Well, depending on my question for you actually is Florida quarterback situation. Are you? Do you have an opinion on that? I don't really have a strong opinion on whether or not Lagway plays quarterback or Mertz plays quarterback against us, but
yeah, I saw that. I saw that Lagway starting this week because of a concussion to Mertz.
Right.
I think Mertz is a little underrated. I think he can hit open receivers. I think he takes care of the ball. He's a good player. Uh, I don't think Lagway strikes fear into my heart, being that would be a second start and it'd be a Mike Elko
Same.
defense with that secondary. I would still be okay with it. In fact, I would maybe prefer Lagway, honestly. I know he has the running element.
Yeah.
He's an athlete, but, we have a freaking athletic defense. And even in a poor game by the linebackers, they were able to chase down Riley Leonard at times, even being out of position at times, just with athleticism. Like, Scooby got himself into plays, even having kind of a shaky game. And I think we could handle Lagway pretty well. I'm not too fearful of that. I have a feeling it's still going to be Mertz, though. I heard he clears on Monday for next week. I think it'll still be Mertz. I don't know if they're going to pull the plug on Mertz right away. I think he's good enough to where he gets another look.
Especially if, like, Billy Napier, not his job is on the line for that game specifically, but, like,
Yeah.
starts adding up. And, I think he's going to try to trust the guy that he personally brought Graham Mertz. Like, they could have got other guys.
Yeah.
But they're like, no, we're going to go with Graham Mertz, and
Yeah.
at first I was very underwhelmed, but last year I thought he played really well. That he had Ricky Pearsall, who ended up being a first-round draft pick, but now they got DK, and then obviously Eugene Wilson, and then Elijah Badger from Arizona State. Like, they have a pretty decent receiving core, but they just didn't. You weren't able to really see it against Miami.
Yeah, and Miami's question mark was their secondary. So I guess I'll ask you this: do you think that receiver room can? Or we're a week ahead right now, but we're talking about it. But do you think that receiver room is more of a test than what Notre Dame showed us?
I do.
Yeah.
I TBD on the offensive line, because Miami's defensive line is really good, right? And I think Riley Leonard is more mobile, and, like, they schemed very well. Like, not that I don't think Notre Dame's offensive line is that good, right? Like, obviously we talked about it, and I know A&M didn't have, like, a sack. They had that one Nick scored in one where he made it back to the line of scrimmage, but it was more like Notre Dame just schemed very well, knowing that they were trying to hide some of the weaknesses on their offensive line. And I think they took advantage of our linebackers getting too aggressive on a couple of plays. But overall, like, it'll be interesting to see, because Miami's defensive line is also really, really talented. So I'm not sure how
one of the
good
best in the
Florida's
country.
offensive line. Yeah, I'm not sure how good Florida's offensive line really is. But if they're able to protect Graham Mertz for any extended period of time, like, it'll be a better test, I think, for our secondary than the wide receiver core that was thrown out for Notre Dame. That's my opinion. Not everyone shares that opinion, but that's my opinion.
I think further context on the Notre Dame receiver core is probably needed to fully make a judgment on that, given that, Bo
Correct.
Collins is there, and Faison didn't really play most of that game anyway. So I think we need
he's hurt.
Yeah, we need to see more from them to really judge that. But yeah, it's definitely possible. It's better. And real quick on the way they kind of attacked our defensive line, Leonard just had a great internal clock and feel for the game that whole game, right? Like, he got the ball out quickly when it was a drop back pass and the O-linemen were kind of on an island. He got the ball out in time, and he was able to scramble or extend plays. It wasn't like a dominant Riley Leonard performance, but he just did enough the whole time to keep him at bay. So I don't know if you get that out of either of Florida's quarterbacks, but I guess it remains to be seen.
Remains to be seen. Like, the important part with both of those offenses is, like, not getting behind on the chains, right? And letting those dogs loose. Like, Riley Leonard just didn't get behind on the chains, right? Like, that was reality. He didn't take negative plays.
Yeah.
He took what the defense gave him, and that's it. He wasn't that impressive, like you said, and he just did enough. And, like, I'm sure people have brought it up before, but if you get an average game from Connor, you probably see yourself winning that football game. But
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Brutal words to speak. Yep. I know. It's a bounce back session. Well, any closing? Do you want to give a score prediction? We have a Hall of Fame going, Matthew Dawson. We have a Hall of Fame. If any viewer or any caller on this show predicts the score for an A&M game correctly, you enter the Hall of Fame, and your name is immortalized on a board that I will create once we have a Hall of Fame inductee that I will hold up every Thursday show. Do you want to give a score prediction to enter the Hall of Fame contest?
Ooh, give me I'd love to. Give me 49-3. Does that sound pretty reasonable?
That sounds great. I'm 52-10, so we're right there, pretty similar. And yeah, it'd be great if we don't give up a touchdown, but football is football. I always throw one out there just kind of for insurance. But yeah, 49-3 would be great, man. Hold them to 3. Yeah, that'd be awesome. All right, I have you down for 49-3. Do you want to give a feel for the Texas game real quick? I'm sure you previewed it already on your channel.
No. You mean the Michigan game? Oh yeah, we did.
The Michigan game. That's right.
Yeah, CD and I think we both took Texas, like, laying the points, but not a bettable game for me at all, because, like, reality is Michigan's defense is, like, so good. On Prize Picks, I think I took Quinn Ewers, like, to have less than, like, 100 or 246.5 yards. Like, I feel really good about both those offenses, like not doing much. And I'll tell these viewers out here, watch out for Khalil Mullings, right? The backup running back from Michigan, who I think is eventually going to take over for Donovan Edwards. At
That was
some
number
point
20, right? He played pretty well last week.
Yeah, he's really good. I think he's better than Donovan Edwards. So I would encourage listeners to, if they're going to watch the Texas Michigan game, which they don't have to, right?
Yeah.
But Khalil Mullings, I think, is a really good football player. So go watch him. I would say the running back there.
How do you think Michigan handles their quarterback situation? This is what I think, and I'm not well versed like you are in Michigan football.
Well,
I'm sure you are. But
I'm not tied into the program either. I just have I have eyeballs.
You have eyeballs.
That's all I got.
Yeah, I got you. Well, this is how I feel. I would like to see a running attack and try to shorten the game, kind of like the USC LSU game was, just like a lower possession kind of a game, and see if you can't extend drives and just bottle up explosives for Texas and see if you can't just limit the game. And I don't know if Alex Orji gives you that best chance. Maybe he's just not a good player overall because they're kind of fading him and going with the guy whose name escapes me, who was a previous walk-on.
Davis Warren.
Yeah, Davis Warren. Yeah. I could just see a running attack and, just leaning on A&M's defense. I mean, A&M, Texas's defensive line and really testing it and seeing what it's about and trying to shorten the game and just build some long possessions with the first down, not stopping the clock anymore. That's kind of what I want to see, but they like to go with Davis Warren. They obviously want him to be the guy. So, I don't know. Do you have a feel there?
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. I think both teams are going to early try to establish the run game, right? And I think Texas is going to fail at that. Yeah, sure, their offensive line is really good, but Michigan has, Ernest Hausman, Mason Graham, Kenneth Grant. Their interior and linebackers are so good. And look, I think losing Cedric Baxter, this is one game where, you really wish you would have had him because if you want to match the physicality of Michigan, you kind of would like to have a running back like that. But, and look, Michigan's secondary is pretty good. I know there were some shaky plays against Fresno State, but I liked what I saw still from the secondary for the most part against Fresno State. And then it's a frisky offense that they run over there in California. But I'm I have Texas covering the 7.5 or whatever it is, or the 7, wherever you got it at. But I don't feel great about that. I think this could be a close ball game. You're going on the road against a defending national champion with probably, in my opinion, the best defense in the country. Maybe Georgia could be the better defense if you're looking at it from top to bottom.
Yeah,
defensive line to cornerback and safety. I just feel a little bit better about Texas scoring more points. It's more of a Davis Warren. I did not like what I saw from him at all, and I don't think they know. They don't have really an identity on offense yet, and I think Texas does.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm at with that, but
yeah,
it'll be interesting, man.
Really good point, and I think Texas has more pressure, and as the road team, because they're supposed to win this game, they have everything to play for. Michigan, it's kind of expected they take a step back this year, so we'll see what happens. I'll be watching it. I'll be live here on YouTube watching that game and the A&M game, so if anybody else wants to stop in and say what's up during then, that's great. But thanks for the call, Matthew. I really appreciate the insight, man. You have a great night.
You too, man.
Later. That was Matthew Dawson of the Redshirt Sophomore Podcast. You've seen him on Texags. Great to get a call from him tonight. Let's catch up on the chat, and then we'll get into our next caller. Theo is waiting in the waiting room. And, Jeb, if you want to get in after Theo to give your score prediction and what you want to see from A&M to feel better about the year, that's on you now. And if you're just stepping in here, we are having a little bit of a contest. It's called the Hall of Fame competition. If anybody calls in and gives me a correct A&M score prediction for a game, you get to enter the Hall of Fame. And basically, I'm going to have a board once we have an inductee. And every Thursday before games, your name will be immortalized and shown week to week. So if you want to call in and give me your score prediction and what you want to see from A&M, have at it. All right, guys, let's see. Connor Chappell in the house. Good to see you, man. The missing link, your audio volume is super low. Has been the last several videos too. I have the YouTube volume all the way up. Look, my mic is maxed out. I have my bars maxed out on the app. I think I just need to get a new mic. Is that better? I don't know. I tried to lower the caller audio just to kind of balance them out, but I'm pretty much maxed out without sounding like a thunderstorm, and I think I just need a new mic, guys. I'm sorry about that. I can boost up the sound for the pre-recorded videos. My last video, I did that, and it sounded a lot better. But for the live shows, I don't have a mixer. I'm bare bones here. I'm trying to. The next thing we buy is gonna be the new mic. I just moved. We got the new studio set up. Mic is next. I promise. But thanks for letting me know. Jeb says BJ Mays didn't play. He did not play. I don't know what's going on there. I feel like he's probably going to enter the rotation at some point, but keep an eye on that for sure. The running game looked good. Yeah, Connor, I think the O-line was actually fine. I think the perception might be to you that the O-line wasn't good because Connor played like it wasn't good. He played a little bit off schedule, a little bit rushed, a little bit happy-footed, and I think that made it look like a worse O-line game than it was. But after rewatching the game, I'm encouraged with the O-line. So I think I'm going to push back there on you a little bit, Connor. But thanks for the comment. Running game looked good. Yes, it did. The only thing that was a head scratcher was we put Scorton out in coverage several times when they blitzed the safety. Yeah, they have to throw a zone blitz out there every now and then. It was 3 drops in coverage according to PFF. He only did it 3 times. I mean, it's a zone blitz to catch him off guard. You're going to do that every now and then. I didn't have a problem with it. Oh, JT Man with a score prediction. A&M 100, McNeese 42. What is this, basketball? Give them scores early to keep the offense out there. I like the strategy. Big brain move there by JT Man. I love it. Doesn't Florida play someone decent this week? I'd have to check. I think this is one of their actually manageable weeks, but I don't know for sure. They play Samford. No, they don't. Okay. Shan says, I hope Connor has stayed off social media this week. I know he has, but, he probably still feels like people are talking about him. He knows what he just did was on a national stage, and I'm sure he feels that. I hope he was off social media, though. There are lunatic fans out there, Jeb, absolutely. Truffle Shuffle in here. Good to see you, Truffle Shuffle. How you doing, man? Eric says, not trying to overlook McNeese, but thoughts on Lagway potentially starting for Florida next week. Rewind the show about 10, 15 minutes. We talked about that, but essentially I'd rather see Lagway than Graham Mertz. I trust an Elko defense against a second game starter, a first big-time game starter in Lagway. I would honestly rather see Lagway. I know he brings that extra running effect, but so did Riley Leonard. He bottled up pretty well. I'd rather see Lagway. I think Mertz is a little bit underrated. That's how I feel. That's my feel on it, Eric, but thanks for bringing it up. All right. Theo, you're on with Drew. What's on your mind tonight, my friend?
Oh, not much, my friend. I'm just trying to take care of the daughter. She had her surgery today.
Things going pretty good?
Oh, yeah. She's doing great right now.
Awesome.
She had her tubes taken out. She had tubes put in about a year and a half ago for ear infections and stuff. And
yeah.
So she had that taken out today.
Nice. Well, that's probably a good thing. Get back to some normalcy there. I mean, I know I wish I would have had those as a kid because I had constant ear infections. So I'm glad she's doing better. That's great to hear.
Yeah, so she's doing better. She's a little hyper, and now I'm trying to stay awake and have fun after anesthesia and all that stuff. So
I got you. She's fighting it. I got you.
It's fun times.
Yeah.
But I didn't catch the first part of the show, so did you propose the question I asked?
No, but if you want to bring it up now, it's a great time to do it.
Okay. So for everyone listening and or you yourself, I want your answer to this. Would you rather be a program like Virginia Tech, Penn State, and even Ohio State under Jim Tressel, where you have long-term coaches that are historic, successful coaches like Frank Beamer, Joe Paterno, and Jim Tressel, who's been at programs for 15, 20, 25 years and has consistently had 9, 10 borderline.
Oh, Theo, you're doing the thing where you cut out every couple of minutes, but definitely hear where you're getting at. You're hearing like a long, consistent run, but not necessarily in the natty conversation every year, but any given year you could spike up and maybe you win one every 6 or 7 years or so, something like that.
Or would you rather have a Dabo, Urban Meyer thing where every 3 to 4 years to start your career, you are in a national title game?
Give me Ed Orgeron, baby. I want 1 year lightning in a bottle for the rest of my lives and never see it again. No, I think I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with consistency, and it's easy to say that from where we are now, and I'll tell you why. We would love to be just in that upper echelon conversation every year from where we stand right now, but I do know right now at Ohio State with Ryan Day, they're a little antsy, and that's with Ohio State winning like 11 games a year. The margins change once you become that consistent. But speaking from where we are now, I think I would take the long-term 25-year run of just consistent winning football with maybe a couple natties sprinkled in. I would take that over like the 6-year win 3 run like a Dabo did. I would take the Jim Tressel approach Now. That's where I'm at because I like winning. I mean, I of course natties are great, but I also just enjoy the season. I enjoy having good years. That's really fun too, and that's a really good program to be a part of. So I think I'm going to go with the Jim Tressel approach. I love a good would you rather, you sicko. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too because, like, on one hand, I want to be known as a winner, right? But then we've never had successful winners season in terms of natty national titles.
Yeah, and Space Jesus just brought this up. He would rather take Dabo Urban because we had that first option with RC, but RC didn't get the highest prize. Now, something that those guys you mentioned had was they won natties. So as long as you're winning natties
Right.
somewhere along the way, and there's a legit chance that happens, I'm taking the Jim Tressel approach. But if part of this would you rather, like Dr. Diabolical situation you got going on is you don't win any natties in that, I wouldn't take it. There has to be at least a natty in there.
Right.
But you did say that,
See,
so I'm going with it.
and see, here's another thing about the whole Ryan Day situation. It's not so much that they're not in national title contention. It's that they
Michigan.
are not in national title contention and losing to Michigan.
Yeah, that's absolutely part of it. And I don't know. I'd like to say that wouldn't bother me with Texas, but once you get to that game week and feel that, it feels a lot different. So, I think to me, from here, I think Ohio State fans are outside their mind with that, but it's hard. We're saying it from afar. It would probably feel a lot differently if you're in there and you're used to sustained success. So it's just relative, I guess. But yeah, I hear that totally.
All right. So, where did you want to take
All right.
from here?
So I know you wanted to call in last week. I know you wanted to give some Notre Dame thoughts. You want to give that before we talk about what we want to see next? Uh-oh, Theo, you got this thing where your phone falls asleep every couple of minutes, and I have to fill in, and it's a little awkward. I don't mind doing it, but it's just a little awkward.
It would help if I actually paid attention to the phone call and not just play War Thunder on TV and shoot shits and stuff.
Just tap the screen every now and then with your elbow, like give it that, the people's elbow.
But so going into Notre Dame, I thought that our defensive line, based off of what we heard, was gonna be the second coming of like the wrecking crew defensive line.
Yeah.
At the very minimum, Myles Garrett and Deshaun Hall level of havoc.
Yeah.
Up front.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I feel really let down in that aspect because I did not feel that kind of dominance.
Right.
There was times where it was there.
Yeah.
But it was just so inconsistent, especially once we got them into like
once we got them to like second and long and stuff like that, and they were able to squirt through and kind of make up ground, right?
Yeah, and it may have not been like big ground. It may have not been the whole thing, but it was enough to make third and manageable.
They got back on schedule every time pretty much.
Right. And that was very frustrating from something we were told is going to be one of the absolute dominant things that we see this year.
I'll say this about the D-line, and we've kind of talked about this, I think, before you got on. They had a good game plan against the offensive line, especially in their passing game, and especially the way Riley Leonard's internal clock worked that game. He didn't have a star performance, but he kept the ball out of the pocket. Everything was quick. He was mobile. And I will say on the running plays, I think the D-line did enough, but the linebackers just weren't fitting consistently on those run plays where they were squirting through. It wasn't perfect by the D-line, and I totally agree it wasn't the domination we were hoping for. But I think they did enough to put the linebackers in position, and linebackers were accepting blocks or they were in the wrong gap a little bit too much. And that was, I think, kind of what happened in some of those squirt throughs. That's how I saw it. I that's kind of how I feel. And yes, it wasn't total havoc. It wasn't destruction. But I still feel like they did enough to win you the game, but they definitely could have done more.
Same way. Same feeling.
Yeah.
I feel that the passing game is getting a little bit too much blame. And, I mean, the passing game overall, I'm talking about receivers and Connor.
Yeah.
after rewatching that game, I don't know if Klein has a tail, I don't know what it was, but anytime they saw a certain formation for mesh, they would call that corner blitz with a linebacker blitz. It was like a fire zone blitz. The first time they called it, though, the corner did not sit in cover two like he did at the end of the game.
Yeah.
He decided to go after the curl route the first time.
Yeah.
So even then, like we talked about, if Connor was able to quickly diagnose it, which was hard because they did disguise the blitz very well, he could have floated the ball up to Noah Thomas and the outside towards the sideline.
Yes.
That's early. And then late in the game when they did it, of course, we all saw that he was open on the corner route.
Yep.
However, what we don't really give credit to is how quickly that blitz was there. It was a very quick blitz, and it would have taken Connor a literally catch and throw type of thing, and something like that would have had to been seen pre-snap. And unfortunately, they didn't tell it that way until after the snap.
Yeah, it was a really good defense and a really good defensive game plan, and they took advantage of our weaknesses at receiver. But there were still opportunities there, and even under even under those type of blitzes, we've seen Connor perform before, and that was kind of the surprising part, not being able to diagnose and take action on the fly, at least at times during the game, at least at some points in the game, because we've seen that from him before. That was the surprising part to me about Connor, just not having that good internal clock in the pocket like he normally does is what I felt like he didn't have. He didn't have that feel in the pocket to me. And yeah, that was all there. And I definitely saw those windows where you could have gotten the ball up to Noah, but Connor didn't see it.
Not only did Connor not see it, but it was those situations where it had to be an almost instantaneous look.
Yeah.
And if you didn't see it pre-snap, then you didn't see it at all. And give the hats off to Al Golden. He disguised it very, very well Saturday.
And that's tough to do with Klein's snap cadence too, because you definitely are looking for tells with the way they're doing the unpredictable 1, 2, or 3 snap cadence, which I like. I like having that for an offensive line and a quarterback. But to be able to disguise it under that, that's pretty impressive to hold your water through that.
That itself was encouraging in terms of how our offensive line responds to that, because I remember times last year they would jump themselves and get themselves in trouble on messing up snap counts.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we clearly saw improvement on the O-line. We clearly saw improvement in the run game.
Yeah.
I was really worried that in the run game we weren't going to be able to get anything going.
Yeah.
And we did. So, I want to see more. I want to see more of the backs. I mean, I know Moss had, 3.5 yards per carry and almost 20 carries, but I just felt like Amari had a different gear. I feel like E.J. Smith had a different gear when they had a chance to do something. I would like to see, I don't know how to quite put it, but maybe Moss be like the starter and the first quarter hammer. Amari come in the second quarter and be that primary back for that quarter.
Yeah.
E.J. Smith come in for the third quarter and then have Moss close it out in the fourth.
Yeah, here's what I saw. To me, obviously, and we know this by now, they really want a clear running back one, and it's Moss. And on the one long sustained drive, besides the first opening drive of the game, the one where we scored the touchdown, that was a drive where you got a few plays in, and then they did sub Moss out, and then they threw in Amari and then EJ for the change of pace as the defense is getting tired in that given drive. And there was success with those two guys as the, in drive change of pace. So I think that's their philosophy, and I don't think we had enough long sustained drives for them really to get into that specific game plan. So I think that kind of took us out of it, and there were some third down conversions on the table that we didn't get for whatever reason. A lot of mistakes on third downs, unfortunately, and I think if we would have had some more sustained drives, you would have seen more of those guys, is what I'm kind of getting at.
Yeah. I also think that maybe we need to put some of those guys in the slot and stuff and run the fly sweep and the jet motions
To
and
them.
things like that.
Yeah.
To them. Because we were looking for juice out of that position. And as much as I love Terry, I wish we would give him the ball more, because he felt electric every time he touched the ball. Like, just,
He did.
You feel like he's going to set something big soon.
Yeah. He made people miss on every return. He at least made one or two people miss, and he ran into walls and he couldn't break through. But it was encouraging every time he touched the ball. And he needs to wear a tighter undershirt. He got dragged down by a dang undershirt.
Yeah, he played quite a bit of snaps.
He did
in the rewatch that I noticed. Maybe he's grasping the playbook a little bit better than the other guys. I don't know.
Yeah, and that's part of it too, talking about throwing those running backs in the jet sweeps. I mean, they're all trying to learn their base offense. Remember, I mean, it's obviously the first week in a playbook, so maybe those are things you can see implemented over the course of the year, because, yeah, they're still in the implementation process right now, even in the season. I know they say the full thing's installed, but obviously they don't have as many wrinkles as maybe more season tenures would have at this point.
You being a former player, you need to kind of touch on that a little bit more. Because I know I try to do that in my Twitter conversations about, hey, you guys don't realize that with these modern offenses, they don't spend all offseason installing the offense. Literally, the offense starts getting installed about a week or two before the season starts. Everything else before that is nothing but going back to the basics and running like 6 or 7 basic plays to perfect that, and then you install the offense off of those basic plays.
Yeah, and you'd be surprised how many plays that you would consider kind of just like go-to plays that get installed over the course of the season, week to week. A lot of installation throughout the year is going to happen, and they don't have that base to build off of with last season. They have spring, they have summer, and then they have preseason camp, but they're going to keep installing throughout the year. There's going to be a wrinkle every week, and maybe you don't see it versus McNeese, but you'll see it versus Florida. They're going to add and, increase that repertoire over the course of a year, and teams that have been together longer will have more to play with earlier in the year. That's typically how it works. And they did as much as they could, but you're going to see more stuff as the year goes on for sure.
I definitely agree. I felt the injuries along the offensive line in the middle of the second and going into the third quarter, or middle of the third quarter, that quarter period,
yes,
really, really hurt our offensive line, its continuity, and the drives that we were watching.
Yep.
Once we got back to actually a healthy O-line in the fourth quarter, the start of the fourth quarter, our line got back to basically all our starters, with Afua going back to center. It really clicked into place then.
Yep. It was the worst when Naboo tried to give it a go with his messed up, I think it's a torn ACL. That's what On3 reported, so I'm not reporting that. That's what I saw from On3. He tried to go back and give it a go, and that was a struggle. And then on that same drive, Reed Adams went down with, I think, a cramp, and then you had Shanahan go in for his first college reps ever in a game, and that killed the momentum of that drive that was having positive plays.
Shanahan didn't go in that drive.
Yes, he did. He did. He went in for Reed Adams at guard. Yes, he went to guard.
Okay, because when I was watching the replay, he didn't go. They quote unquote they didn't point it out.
They did not. They were off on that a couple times. I noticed
until the final drive when Afua went out, and then Shanahan went to center.
Yes. And
they made a big deal about, this is the first snaps he's
I remember.
All game.
That was incorrect. Yeah. And he played in the goal line too. Did you realize on the goal line plays, they took out the right tackle, they put Theo at right tackle, and they moved they moved Crown over into the left side tight end position to overload one side with blockers. and they ended up running right down the middle. But that was an interesting look that I liked. And on that play, they had Calhoun at H-back on that play.
It's a huge wrinkle.
Yeah.
And hey, there's another thing that we need to talk about. Our H-backs have to get better at knowing how to attack defenders.
There was a problem at the point of contact with that the whole game, I thought. Absolutely.
We talked about that all offseason about how, well, at least I did, with you, about how Klein loves his H-backs and that the H-backs are the key to his offense.
Yep.
Because he loves that guard H counter play, and if the H-back does not know how to attack the linebacker correctly, it kills it.
Mm-hmm.
And also learning how to adapt that play as the play is happening, so that way we don't get the mix-up that we had between Moss and
Naboo. Yeah.
We've talked about that as well. Once you notice in that type of, once you're the center in that situation, and you effectively brought that right side defensive tackle across your face into the opposite gap that he's supposed to be in and pass it to that guard, you climb up to the next level.
You work up. You never go backwards. That's just not what you do.
Right. Now, if it
that was a 20-yard gainer if he doesn't do that, I think.
Now, if that defensive tackle did not cross his face like he did, then yes, Naboo was correct in cracking back. But Naboo did his job because that right side defensive tackle, which is his man, did what he did and got whooped. And and in that case, you move up. And so because he saw the blitz of 12 come down like a crazy person, he freaked out because the situation. But that's being in that play and running that play several times and understanding that play. And though on paper it would have been the correct block, but because of the way the development of that play happened in the moment, he should know next time, okay, I'm going to hit the safety.
Yeah. And then there was that play. I don't know if it was a counter left. I think it was a counter left where Trey Watson was pulling and
got blown up.
That was a beautiful play design. It was going to work beautifully, but he just got destroyed, and that blew the play up. I mean, we got to get better.
Because he didn't know how to dig out that defender and hit the defender in the right area.
And that was one of my concerns was I know Trey Watson. He has good size. He's a great target. But that's the kind of thing I'm concerned with Trey Watson right there. And that's on tape now. They're obviously going to work on that right now this week. That's got to get better. That's something that Klein's going to use a lot, like we're saying. So I think overall Calhoun had some bad moments. Did you see that quick snap play where they were on the 3-clap cadence and then they switched to a single clap quick snap? The D-line wasn't even in their stance yet. You had a major leverage advantage on the left side, but I don't know what Calhoun was doing. He was maybe running the wrong play. Maybe he thought it was like split zone and someone was going to get that player behind him, the defensive end next to him. No one touches him, and that one player makes the play. You had an extreme advantage on that play for another huge gain.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what happened there.
Hey, touch on the and I know a lot of our listeners don't see our background questions, but there were several times when I felt like Connor should have kept the ball, but then when I rewatched it, I was really impressed because the defensive end stayed at home. And then once the defense end saw that Connor gave the ball, he would chase, but the linebacker would still feel like Connor kept the ball. So they were like double checking and making sure Connor gave up the ball. And after rewatching, I was like, okay, now I understand why he didn't pull all night.
Yeah.
Because they really emphasized, okay, Klein likes to pull the ball if it's available.
Yeah.
I think Connor could do the same thing. And so I feel like they took two guys and said, okay, no matter what, you make sure he gives the ball off. And even if he does give the ball off, you keep an eye on him in case he really didn't give the ball off. And this guy's mistaken.
Yeah,
what I mean?
they were just double checking it, and I'm surprised we didn't get bigger gains off those plays because of it. I'd have to go back and rewatch, but yeah, obviously they looked at Klein's film and they were ready for that. So I think you nailed it right there. Yeah, he didn't pull a single time in the game, I don't think.
And now that I look back at it, I'm like, okay. Yeah, I was really frustrated about that Saturday night and Sunday. And
They had a
then
plan for it.
Yeah, right. Once I actually was able to look at it, I was like, oh, that's because he actually made the right read.
Yeah, yeah. But I'm surprised, given that they had that extra peak, that they didn't have a leverage advantage on more of those plays. And I don't think many of those plays were – maybe they were. I'm not really remembering it really well. Were those big plays for us? I think one was an end around.
Plays.
Yeah.
They were solid plays.
Yeah.
They were I remember one, Moss broke out for 12 yards. Another one, he broke out for like 8 yards, and then the rest were like 4 or 5 yards.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was only like 3 or 4 times that we'd run that look.
Yeah.
Where it was more like a inside zone switch option. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's transition. Let's talk about what you need to see this coming week, and then we'll end it with a score prediction to get you in the running for the Hall of Fame. So what are the developments you want to see? What are things you want to see continue? Give me like maybe a couple things on each side of the ball you want to see this coming week to feel better about the Aggies.
Linebackers better in play on defense.
Yep.
Got to see it. I got to see them read it and hit it better against an offense that is clearly going to be overmatched.
And that's what I'm expecting from Torian, because we saw it all year last year.
I need him to read it correctly and not jump gaps. I need him to trust the young men in front of him, because when he puts himself in a position to make a play and it's the correct position that he makes himself in to put in the play, 99.9% of the time he's going to make that play.
Yeah. Yep.
Saturday night, there was too many times when I saw him guessing or checking. He was caught up in watching the tight end and not watching the run action of the offensive line. On the big run, that's what caught him out of position. And then on the late touchdown by Love, he decided to jump into the gap that the defensive tackle was in instead of being in his gap. And that's where it popped.
Yep.
And so I need to see that from him.
Yep.
I would like to see more. I would like to see the young corners, Ricks, Thomas, Rogers, and the cats that we picked up this year in the recruiting class if we can. I really want to see those guys because I know what we have in Will Lee. He played amazingly. I'm not worried about the outside corners anymore.
Same with Chappelle. Yeah.
I'm not worried about the top 3. Javon Thomas and Ricks gave me hope of having a solid 5 this year.
Yeah.
I want to know about next year's guys. I want to know if we're going to be able to, barring the fact that they transfer out, we'll be able to keep a solid nucleus going out the next few years there.
Yep. And keep in mind, Bussy could slide in there if you need him in a year. You have that too. And yeah, this is the kind of game where you want to see that kind of stuff. And yeah, man, I'm actually really bullish on the young guys too. I mean, I obviously want to see them get some action, but yeah, obviously Chappelle's going to be gone. Willie's probably going to be gone. And it's going to be Ricks. It's going to be Bravion. I don't know if Jaden Hill has any more eligibility left. He didn't play much this last game, serving the suspension in the first half. I'm really excited moving over to safeties that Ratcliffe has some eligibility left. That's fun.
Oh,
Brooks
that's
too.
A beautiful play.
Yeah, yeah.
I love. Now he needs some time in the weight room because he looked a little too skinny at times on that field Saturday night.
You know he's like 6'3", 225 though.
He really didn't look like it, especially the frustrating play, the 3rd and 5. When they're on their side of the field at like the 20-yard line to start that long drive, and Ratcliffe is playing like he's gonna blitz inside the guard area, and he has to cover the out route.
Yeah.
And just looking at that frame as he's running, I kind of laughed because it looked like a little kid to me in high school trying to chase someone bigger. Um, but I didn't. I could see the 6'3". It's just the frame, like
Yeah. Well, he'll put
he
on
looks
weight.
like
Yeah,
chicken legs.
he's going to play a lot this year. I mean, he freaking started, which is crazy to me. That was insane that he started. I thought that was really cool. Shows what they see in
Yeah.
him. But yeah, he has huge, massive potential. He was huge at San Diego State last year, arguably their best player on a bad team. And yeah, I'm excited for him. I'm excited to see Dalton get out there this week. Yeah, secondary's going to be fun. How about offense? Give me a couple offensive points and a score prediction. I got to get into my last caller.
No problem, my friend. Offensively, I need to see this passing game, and everyone's gonna hate me. They're gonna jump off a cliff when I say this. I need them to execute.
Yeah, I said it a couple times in my last video too, and I felt weird about it, but it's true.
There was plays to be had that they failed to execute.
Yep.
And when I say it's the things that I pointed out that were what I say is mental mistakes of them not being in their playbook and asking the proper questions during the install. There was the beautiful higher
The collision
play. The collision, it was there. It was set up for a beautiful play.
Yeah,
because that safety was in a bind. He had to take the dig, or he was going to have to take the go. And it was there for a huge 15, 25-yard game.
Yep.
And
Connor saw that one. He was on that too. That was one that you saw him. He kind of got into his motion a little bit towards that development, and didn't happen because they collided.
The 4th and 2 that we ran, Noah has to understand that his job is to force that corner to go over the top of him. He cannot let that corner come inside of him like that.
Yeah.
He has to force that play. Even if he collides with that guy, it's okay because it looks like he's running a go. But he has to get in that player's way in order to make that play work.
Yep.
And it was set up beautifully.
Yeah.
He just failed his assignment in that aspect.
Yep.
Connor, he needs to. Connor's issue, from what I saw on the tape, is he did not trust his offensive line after he started getting hit just a little bit in the first and second quarter. Because I rewatching it, I was tracking the plays, and up till the E.J. Smith miss, he hit some pretty big tight window throws that were like curls and comebacks to Jade and Cyrus Island and stuff like that. And then he started getting hit a little bit, and then his feet got happy.
Yep.
And then when his feet got happy, he missed on the throws. And he knew they were easy throws that he missed.
Yeah. Yeah.
But for some reason, I don't know if it was because he still had the horrors of the injury or what.
And Elko acknowledged that's possible. He did say that he had some, what was the word? Some residue from the past is what Elko said. So yeah, I think that was there.
I think he needs to go ahead and use this game to develop trust in this offensive line, because this offensive line was not last year's offensive line. Did he get hit a little bit? Yes. But he has to understand Notre Dame had to bring blitzes and disguise their blitzes to hit him.
Yeah.
He's not playing against this offensive line that just stood there and played in space.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I really think the crackback hit that Crownlover got on the first drive, once Connor sees that on film, I believe that's going to help him, because he'll realize, okay, these guys are going to come back looking for work to help me.
Yep.
They're not just going to sit there and blow their assignment and then not do anything to help.
And did you see on that same play, Reed Adams table-topped Riley Mills in the middle at right guard there, which was awesome. It was like a double, not necessarily a pancake, but double defensive lineman on his ass. That was a cool play. And Connor could have stepped up a little bit earlier on that play to give his tackles some more help. But yeah, he's going to see that and say, these guys are different than what I've had the last couple of years, for sure.
Oh, and speaking of guys that we need to highlight, how about Cronover? That young man played his rear end off Saturday night.
He had some
And
down moments. We got better over the course of the game, I thought. I thought he got better over the course of that game after watching it again. Because he had a
But
couple of
compare-
his face got crossed a couple times, and he wasn't physical enough on a couple run plays. But as that game went on, he got better and better, I thought.
But then go back and compare it to what he was like against
100%.
Alabama or Tennessee or what was another one like Ole Miss.
Yeah.
Like if you go back and look at those games, he was completely missing on these blocks.
And he won the
Completely.
battle because that was a toss up. If on the initial depth chart and from what we heard from Elko, that was going to be a rotation with Fothery, and he ended up playing that whole game.
Mm-hmm.
So he
And he
showed him
played
something
really well.
late. Yeah, and we'll see how it develops. I'm excited about it though. That was to me that was the one area to watch on the O line. But after rewatching the game a couple times like a sicko, I feel good about it. I think top to bottom, just learn how to play together a little bit better, learn the offense a little bit better, get comfortable, and it feels good that, I mean, all things considered, you have areas of your team struggling. An offensive line could be a stabilizer.
Yeah, and it felt like they were a stabilizer Saturday night.
Yeah.
And I look forward to that continuing, not only against McNeese but Florida. I think they can do that against Florida.
100%. All right, Theo, give me a score prediction. I got to get to Jeb.
Let's go 42-7.
All right, giving up one touchdown. I would like to see us get to 49, but 42-7 would feel pretty good as well. All right, Theo, that was a good talk, and I got to get to my last caller, but thanks for calling in. We got to catch up on some of that Notre Dame stuff, and I think we got through some good material. So I'll be live streaming the game on Saturday. I'm not showing it, but I'll be reacting to it live if you want to tune in. So hope to see you there, but if not, I'll see you Monday. Awesome, man. Thanks for calling in, Theo. You have a great night.
Hey, hit the likes, everyone. Hit the likes.
Thanks, Theo. Yeah, hit the like button. Listen to Theo. All right, last caller of the night. Jeb, you waited your turn. It's your time. What do you got to say to the people tonight?
Damn, I don't know if I can top that last conversation, man. That was very in-depth.
We were in the weeds there. We were in the weeds, man. We got into the nitty-gritty. The nitty-gritty, as Nacho Libre likes to say. But all right, Jeb, what do you want to see from these Aggies versus McNeese? How you feeling, man?
I mean, it's really simple. I just want to see points, man. I want to see scoring.
Yeah.
That's my thing. I mean,
you want 50?
I'm sorry. I will not be satisfied with 40. I'm just not.
I am the same way. I'm going to let them have their pick, but I need 50 personally. I want it 49, fine. 49, 7 touchdowns, fine. But get me close to that 50 right there.
You're essentially playing a high school team, basically. That's what it is. And when you're a D1 Power 5 school and you're playing an FCS school, it's essentially my dad used to say the same thing. You're playing a high school team.
Yeah, I think McNeese is a little bit better than what Arkansas played. Arkansas, Pine View, did you see them?
Arkansas Pine Bluff. Yeah, I watched that game Thursday night.
I did too. Their O-line and their D-line, that did look like a high school team. That was crazy. I mean,
well,
Arkansas
did you see the
looked good.
scoreboard across every SEC school, like Alabama and Ole Miss?
We got to do that.
70-0.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, you want 50, right? Like that's what it's got to be.
I mean, I'm excited to watch them play, obviously as a fan, but I'm kind of looking past this game. I'm thinking about Florida right now.
Yeah. Like I said, I think this is like a 1-2 cycle right here of coming off that game. I think it's a 1-2 combo. It's not one won't give you the answers. You need them both to be good.
This is a tune-up game. I mean, you're gonna have to. This is pretty much like a scrimmage. You got to get all those kinks out before conference play.
Get feeling good, right? Get some good vibes. Well, give me a couple of tangibles. Give me a couple players you want to see it from. Obviously, Connor. I don't know if you speak much on him, but what are a couple things you're looking for?
I'm looking for receivers to get open. I mean, I'm looking for more of Noah Thomas. I think after watching Noah Thomas last Saturday, I mean, I have high hopes for him, but at this point, I think he's a little overrated.
He needs to show us something. He needs to show it to us now.
I was like, yeah, you looked good against bad competition last year, but dude, against meaningful games, you got to show up, man. You're fucking 6'6", dude.
Yeah, it's got to be now.
You got to show up.
You can't waste any more time. This is your time. You're the I think they want you to be wide receiver 1, man. You're going to be the go-to guy.
Yeah,
do it right now.
I don't think he is.
It's going to be Jade. Jade got open the most that game. Jade's the one that got separation that game.
He's physical. He's bigger. Thomas is like 6'6", but he's not physical. Now, jump balls, he can be probably pretty good, but Thomas is not a physical receiver.
I want to see it now. We need to see it now.
I have to see it. It's all hype at this point, dude. I'm tired of hearing about him. I'm tired. You know what I'm mad about? I'm tired of hearing the same thing about, well, if we just had average this, if we just had average that, why can't we just play a complete game?
Yeah.
Last year it was if we just had average cornerback play, we would have been a 9-3 team. In this game, if we just had average quarterback play, we would have won. Well, damn, dude.
I know, dude. When he said that, I get what he was saying. Totally get it. But I was like, I hate hearing that. I hate that.
I'm so sick of it. If we just had average quarterback play, we would have won that game. Oh, damn, dude, we didn't.
I know. I hate it. It's true. I totally get the point. But it's like, oh man, I don't want to say that anymore. I don't want to be there.
I'm still high on Connor because obviously I want him to do well as a fan. I want him to be good. I want him to be better for the team. But I just hope he plays better, man, because I think, like I said before, I think if he struggles in the Florida game, I think you have to have that conversation. You have two good quarterbacks behind him that are waiting to play as well. I think you have to have that conversation.
I think if it's a disaster, you do. If it's not perfect, I can see giving it like another, giving it Bowling Green. But if it's another disaster, yeah, it'll come up if it's the same. He can't play like that. If he plays like that, and that's the thing, it's just you have to have that conversation. But not yet.
Absolutely,
not yet.
Did you watch most of the Florida game when you were out in town?
That's one I have not gone back and watched any of. I'm gonna do a lot of Florida this weekend.
I didn't watch all of it, but I watched a little bit of it. Judging from what I saw from Florida, they don't have a pass rush. So, I mean, the offense has to play better. And it's true. I've been reading all the fan stuff and all the compliments on all the social media. A lot of people think both A&M and Notre Dame aren't very good.
That's kind of crazy. That game was,
Isn't that crazy?
Okay, so yeah, Connor played a bad game, but that was a heavyweight slobber knocker, awesome defensive battle in the trenches.
Everyone looked good. Yeah, except for a quarterback play. Everything else looked good. No one acknowledged how good the defense. We all knew it was going to be a defensive game. We all said that.
It's crazy how it played out exactly how people were saying it would too. It was like first to 20 wins, and that's exactly what happened.
Whoever had the best big plays wins, and
yeah,
I'm hoping the run defense is solid, it's stout going through the year. I know Riley Leonard had a bunch of big run plays, but I'm hoping that having a huge nose guard doesn't bite us in the ass later in the year.
Look, man, I know the D-line didn't live up to that domination expectation.
They played well, though. They played good enough.
They played well enough to give the linebackers a chance, but the linebackers just played bad.
They looked bad, man. Yeah,
I
rewatched it. They reacted very slowly, and we didn't see Solomon DeShields, did we?
Not at all. We saw Samford as the one guy off the bench.
Yeah,
and that was
I wonder if he's hurt. I don't know.
Well, remember we heard that it was going to take him time because there's a big system change from what he was doing before. So he was going through some learning curves. So that's what we heard last. Maybe he plays later. We also didn't see Josh Celisar, which I thought was surprising. I thought the transfer.
We didn't see Josh at all.
I thought he was going to play a role, but no. They kept it real tight on that defensive line rotation. We saw 5 snaps from Rodas Johnson, and we saw 13 from Hicks, and that was it.
Yeah, we didn't see BJ Mays. We didn't see BJ Mays. I don't think at all.
Surprising.
Yeah, I thought he potentially could start.
Yeah, but I was happy with the starters. But I would say in the corner rotation, you could throw him in there and have a fourth guy out there too. Yeah. I think there's enough reps to go around out there. But yeah, man, I mean, this is the game where you get to see guys like that, though, right?
Yeah, and I know Theo made this comment about Radcliffe. He looked huge to me.
I thought so too.
In the screen, he looked huge. I was like, who's number 3? He's huge.
He's long, though. He's stretched out, so maybe that's what he's seeing. But he is a big guy.
He's thick, man. He looks like a linebacker out there. He played well. He looked good.
His problem was he wasn't wrapping up, but he was super physical. He was super aggressive in a good way. He just needs to wrap up a little bit better. I kind of agree. I don't necessarily agree with Theo on that, but he is going to get bigger. He's still only a sophomore. He's going to get bigger.
Right.
I mean, he's going to be even bigger. But yeah. Give me a couple things. I guess you said it. Linebackers, Connor, passing game. Give me your score prediction, Jeb. Let's get you in the running.
Okay, I'm gonna do 55-13.
I would love that.
I would love to be like a shutout, but they might get a garbage touchdown here or there.
Yeah, that's how I feel. I always give myself that insurance because it's so hard to hold somebody to no points because just shit happens in the game. So I mean,
what's your anticipated game of the week? What game are you looking forward to this Saturday?
I think I've touched on most of them. I think I'm really looking for. I like late night games like Pac-12 After Dark. I'm looking forward to Mississippi State, Arizona State. But
I didn't know that's a good one.
I think it's Texas, Michigan. I'm really curious to see how that game goes down.
I'm surprised it's 11 a.m.
That damn big noon thing, man. I hate big noon. It's ugh. But we get to watch the first quarter before our game starts. I think ours kicks off at 11:45.
Yeah, they kick off at 11:45. Theirs is at 11. How do you feel about that matchup?
I want to say Michigan keeps it a game, but Texas is just too in rhythm right now. They have so many returning pieces on that offense, offensive line, quarterback. They brought in those players in the portal. They still have a good tight end in Gunnar Helm. I just think they have too much continuity, too much going for them in that Sark system, and I think they just outscore them. I don't think Michigan can keep up scoring-wise. I think Michigan will get stops, but I think overall Texas will just be able to score more.
Yeah. Do you think it'll be a similar game to like ours last week? Do you think it'll be a low-scoring game for a little while, and then Texas kind of breaks through?
I don't think it'll be that low scoring. I think it might be similar in that overall like kind of feel to a game, but I think it'll be more like a 17-32 kind of scoring margin there.
Yeah, I think so
something
too.
like that.
I think Texas probably has a little bit more offense.
But did you watch the USC LSU game?
I was out and about, but I watched a little bit of it, yes.
So the weird thing about that game is that they were just a bunch of long sustained drives, and it ended up being like an 8-possession, 7-possession game. So not a lot of possessions.
It was a low scoring game, right? It was like 27-23.
Something like that. Like, yeah. And I think if Michigan's able to make it a game like that, that gives them their best chance of winning. Just stretching the game out.
You got to keep it within one possession. I think if Texas goes up by 2 scores,
it's over.
They're probably not going to come from behind. They have a weird quarterback position right now.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just kind of tired of UT fans right now. One of my best friends. He's a big UT guy. Has a UT podcast.
Yeah.
He was making fun of A&M and blah too. So now I'm like really enraged. But I'm trying to keep calm, man. I'm trying not to say anything I'm going to regret.
I'm pretty freaking enraged too. Good thing is we get to play them later, but I want to have some stuff to play for by the time we get there.
I would love for them to lose. I think if they lose to Michigan, they're going to drop a few more games.
Well, I predicted Michigan as a loss, but they looked good in week 1, and Michigan didn't look as good as I was hoping. But I thought Michigan played well late and well enough to still make me interested in this game. I had this game going into the year as a Michigan win, but I flipped on that after seeing both teams last week.
Too. I mean, Fresno State's not a bad team.
No, they're not. They're not. But the thing is,
you should dominate them if you're Michigan. But I mean, they're not a bad school.
I just think quarterback play from Michigan was scary, and especially offensive line play and protection from Michigan was scary. But if they can run the ball against Texas's kind of like newer defensive front, I think that's interesting. But Texas had good linebacker play week 1, so it'll be interesting to see. I think we'll know within like the first few drives like how the tone of the game's going to be for that one. I think it'll be pretty clear early how it's going to go, I think.
Oh yeah, it's going to determine a lot about Texas for sure. Like we'll
100%.
See how they look if they're running game. There is one guy I watched. I forgot what his name was. I kind of like him. He's not very likable personality wise, but he makes a lot of good points.
Yeah.
I think he says he's not super duper high on UT because of like the players they lost.
Yeah, it's a good point, and that's why I have them losing this Michigan game. Look, I think they reloaded well in the portal, but that's a lot of major weapons to lose in one year.
Yeah, you don't get better. You don't get better by losing those guys. You lost 2 guys in the middle who were phenomenal.
Yeah.
You lost one of your good linebackers. Your starting corner left.
All your passing weapons besides your quarterback.
He also said that UT had like the worst red zone offense last year, like one of the worst ones in scoring.
Yeah.
So they don't have that big tight end receiver anymore. They have good weapons on offense for sure, but those guys to me aren't better than what they had last year.
Yeah. This game will tell us a lot, man. They should be able to win. They should be able to win. But here's the thing. With that turnover, they still recruit really well. They reload well. So, unfortunately for us, I think most of that's out the window by the time we play them.
They're firing off of recruiting right now for sure.
But the same goes for us. By the time that game comes around, we'll be a lot better in a first-year staff. So, it works both ways. But, yeah, I'll be watching it for sure. I'll be keeping an eye on it. I hope you tune in for the live stream Saturday.
Yeah,
we watch those games.
Yeah, I'll be home.
Sweet.
You don't have any plans this weekend?
No, I'm watching the games all day Saturday. I get to do it a couple times a year where I just stay home and watch freaking college football all day, and this is one of those weekends, so I'm taking advantage. So I'll stream that I'll probably get on early and watch some of the Texas game with y'all, the Michigan game, sorry. Then we'll watch the whole A&M game, and I'll do some post-game stuff too, so it'll be a good time.
Sweet. I'm looking forward to it.
Hell yeah, man. Well, all right, Jeb, I'm going to get out of here. It's going late, but thanks for the call, man. I guess I'll talk to you maybe Saturday.
Yeah, see you Saturday, man.
Later, man. All right, guys. Great calls tonight. Y'all did great. Thank you, everybody, for calling in. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. This was a fun show. Typically, the Monday shows have a lot more viewers, but we kept it lower today. I think it peaked at like 30, kept it around 20 the whole night, but it was a fun show. Good job, y'all. Good job in the chat. Good job, callers. If y'all could drop a like on the way out, that would help me so much. It really helps the visibility for a show like this. But I will see you guys, like I said, Saturday. I'll try to get on around 11, and we'll watch some of the early Texas game stuff, and then we'll just watch the whole A&M game together. It'll be a good time. First time doing that here, so tune in then, and then we'll talk Monday after that and get into the Florida game. So beat the hell out of McNeese, guys. Great show. Have a great night. Gig 'em.